for a friend, I need to know myself. And if you never ask, how would you know yourself? It's crazy how your parents know you more than you know yourself. Growth is good, it's important just to know your wealth. Don't let them take advantage like niggas who speak Spanish and you don't speak a lick of it. The game will make you trip a bit. Street money is cool till you get sick of it. And all that bullshit that come along with it. Make sure you stay on your square and keep a strong pivot. Cause them cruddy buddies, they'll do you ugly. And why every female favorite question is, do you love me? And if you knew better, baby, you would do better. And once you know better, you would show better. Most men want a housewife, but me, I love a go-getter. Your ex pussy wet, but that new pussy be so wetter. No lies detected, just get high and accept it. Go ahead, talk to him, y'all ain't beefing like that. Come on, Doug, why you being like that? Man, let's keep it a stack. Why you say it if you ain't mean it like that? And when you say him, you ain't give him no rap. Man, let's keep it a stack. You ain't gotta say you gon' be right back. Stop bluffing, shorty, keep it a stack. Once you start something, you can't just leave it like that. Finish the job, homie, keep it a stack. When I...
Yeah. DQ. Check. Have you ever had a dream in the daytime? Had the same dream since the playground. If you made it come true, cause you stay down. Nigga, have you ever really thought about the limelight? In a room full of stars when you shine bright. I'ma make the right move when the time right. Alright. Nigga, have you ever had a dream during the daytime? Had the same dream since the playground. If you made it come true, cause you stay down. Nigga, have you ever really thought about the limelight? In the room full of stars when you shine bright. I'ma make the right move when the time right. Calculated every step, so I can't stand a hater out here hating on. Niggas out here making moves, see a handout the type of shit they waiting on. I'm the type to overlook a hand, cause the wrong step will cost an arm and leg. Niggas tripping, signing deals in red. I'ma hit the booth and make some hits instead. Light years ahead, we done go short a couple of albums, see we up for the challenge. Now I'm focused on the bread, but these niggas be fucking understanding when it come to my talents. It just pop up past when it come to the salad, yeah, zips to the head. And we never mind hating consumers when it come to the rumors, cause we put them hoes to bed. Oh yeah, niggas try to take the page out my book and take the same steps I took. Networking, cultivating relationship, a skill still for real overlooked. Whole squad moving like we Voltron. Yeah, the whole nine looking like a gold mine. I'ma show mine, nigga, when it's go time. I'ma blow mine, niggas, when it's showtime. Niggas try to take the page out my book and take the same steps I took. Cultivating networking relationship, a skill still for real overlooked. Whole squad moving like we Voltron. Yeah, the whole nine looking like a gold mine. Only show mine, nigga, when it's go time. I'ma blow mine, niggas, when it's showtime. Yes, sir. Have you ever had a dream in the daytime? Had the same dream since the playground. If you made it come true, cause you stay down. Nigga, have you ever really thought about the limelight? In a room full of stars when you shine bright. I'ma make the right move when the time right. Alright. Nigga, have you ever had a dream during the daytime? Had the same dream since the playground. If you made it come true, cause you stay down. Nigga, have you ever really thought about the limelight?
What up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up? What's going on with everybody? How my mic sound? Am I good? Am I good? Is it any echo, any feedback? Once again, the Pseudo Killers is back in the building. Right now, I'm flying solo, waiting for the crew to give me the, I put up the bat signal. So we're just going to wait for the Pseudo Killers to get in here. But in the meantime, how's everybody doing? I hope everybody had a wonderful day today. And if it wasn't so good, hopefully we can make it better. All right? Cool. All right, I'm crispy. That's what's up. Greetings. So, racism. What should we do about racism? Conversation that we had the other day actually been on my mind a lot from talking to the panel and what black people feel as though is racism. All right. So It's been on my mind because that's you know, I understand both arguments. I understand my argument and I understand the other people who was making the other arguments, right? Yes, are white people affected socially in a more negative way far as racism than black people? No. So that wasn't my argument. I wasn't trying to make that argument. I clearly understand that black people, so-called black people, so-called African Americans, right, and minority groups are affected by racism on it negatively more than white people. So if that's the general argument that's being made, or the sentiment that's being given, saying that black people can't practice racism, then I understand the sentiment. All right, I'm a black man, so I understand the sentiment that no, we don't affect white America with our prejudices towards them as harshly as theirs affect us, right? Their prejudices, which racism is a prejudice, is a strong prejudice, affects us more negatively than ours would affect them because they're in a position, they're on top right now. So if that's the sentiment, then if that's the sentiment, and I know that's the sentiment because I'm a black man, I understand exactly where y'all coming from, 100%. But just for definition's sake, black people can practice racism also, right? And if you negatively affect someone just because of their race, right? Then that was racist. Simple and plain. There's a lot of things that we can say on these platforms that shows black people level of racism. Now, I know most of us think that it's a response to other people being racist towards us. But two wrongs don't make a right. Right? So, and I'm not asking anyone to be a pushover either. Right? I'm not telling anyone to accept racism. But the same groups that, fight against racism, right? And claim that it affects them so negatively, shouldn't then turn around and start practicing those same behaviors, right? That's crazy. That's like saying, that's the equivalent of saying that burning my house down is wrong. If somebody else come in my house and start setting things on fire, that's wrong. That's bad, right? It negatively affects my well-being, my home, everything that, I got going on. Setting my furniture on fire is wrong, right? In response to that, I shouldn't start setting my house on fire also. That would be crazy. If it's bad to practice setting stuff on fire, then you shouldn't set stuff on fire. If it's bad for white people to practice racism, then it should be bad for you to practice racism. Simple and plain. And especially the people that know how I feel, right? Especially the people that know how I feel. Have y'all ever heard Martin Luther King's letter from Birmingham jail? Have y'all ever read Martin Luther King's letter from the Birmingham jail? If y'all haven't, y'all should. You know what I mean? I think he the letter he wrote that letter from Birmingham jail. He wrote different clergy members, right? And this one letter he wrote to one of the white clergy that was in his town, one of the white reverends, right? And he laid out how, you know, racism had affected him since he was a child, right? Let me see if I can pull that letter up. Yeah, Lakeisha, I can read it. I'm gonna pull it up. Let me find it and pull it up. That should be good. All right. Let's see. Oh, what is it? MLK Jr. Let's see how long it is. It don't matter. I'm gonna read it anyway. All right, yeah, go to your TV. He said, hold on, what I call Latika. I'm sorry, Latika. Listen, I'm gonna swing my camera around one day and I want y'all to see how far my computer screen is away from me. I apologize. Let's see if I can blow this up a little bit. How smashing them be blowing that shit up? All right, there you go. One more time. All right, that should be good. Hopefully everybody can see it. Well, let's get it. Letter. Turn this way. Letter from Birmingham jail. This is August 3rd. This is August 1963. I think he did 4 months on this stint. It's crazy. This man was away from his family going to jail and all of this. Martin Luther King, true soldier. Swear to God. Really the king. All right. Letter from Birmingham jail by Martin Luther King Jr. From the Birmingham jail where he was imprisoned as a participant in a nonviolent demonstration against segregation, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. wrote in longhand the letter which follows. It was his response in a public statement of concern and caution issued by 8 white religious leaders of the South. Dr. King, who was born in 1929, did his undergraduate work at Morehouse College, attended the integrated Crozer Theological Seminary in Chester, Pennsylvania, one of 6 black pupils among 100 students, and the president of his class. and won a fellowship to Boston University for his PhD. He's a sharp brother. This is his letter that he wrote to the white clergy, the white reverends of his town. What's going on, everybody? I'm going to speak to everybody in a minute. He said, while confined here in the Birmingham City Jail, I came across your recent statement calling our present activities unwise and untimely. Seldom, if ever, do I pause to answer criticism of my work and ideas. If I sought to answer all of the criticisms that cross my desk, my secretaries would be engaged in little else in the course of the day, and I would have no time for constructive work. But since I feel that you are men of genuine goodwill and your criticisms are sincerely set forth, I would like to answer your statement in what I hope will be patient and reasonable terms. I think I should give the reason for my being in Birmingham, since you have been influenced by the argument of outsiders coming in. I have the honor of serving as president of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, an organization operating in every southern state with headquarters in Atlanta, Georgia. We have some 85 affiliate organizations all across the South, and being the Atlanta Christian Movement for Human Rights. Whenever necessary and possible, we share staff, educational, and financial resources with our affiliates. Several months ago, our local affiliate here in Birmingham invited us to be on call to engage in a nonviolent direct action program if such were deemed necessary. We readily consented, and when the hour came, we lived up to our promise. So I am here along with several members of my staff because we were invited here. I am here because I have basic organizational ties here. Beyond this, I am in Birmingham because injustice is here. Just as the 8th century prophets left their little villages and carried their "thus saith the Lord" far beyond the boundaries of their hometowns, and just as the Apostle Paul left his little village of Tarsus and carried the gospel of Jesus Christ to particularly every hamlet and city of the Greco-Roman world, I too am compelled to carry the gospel of freedom beyond my particular hometown. Like Paul, I must constantly respond to the Macedonian call for aid. Moreover, I am cognizant of the interrelatedness of all communities and states. I cannot sit idly by in Atlanta and not be concerned about what happens in Birmingham. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. Never again can we afford to live with the narrow, provincial, outside agitator idea. Anyone who lives inside the United States can never be considered an outsider. You deplore the demonstrations that are presently taking place in Birmingham, but I am sorry that your statement did not express a similar concern for the conditions that brought the demonstrations into being. He's talking to white men right now, white preachers who said that they was concerned. He's scolding them. He's saying, y'all are more worried about us coming here to demonstrate than the goddamn the conditions that led to the demonstrations. Man, let Martin talk to these fools, man. I am sure that each of you would want to go beyond the superficial social analysis, who looks merely at effects and does not grapple with underlying causes. I would not hesitate to say that it is unfortunate that so-called demonstrations are taking place in Birmingham at this time. But I would say in more emphatic terms that it is even more unfortunate that the white power structure of this city left the Negro community with no other alternative. In any nonviolent campaign, there are 4 basic steps: collection of the facts to determine whether injustices are alive, negotiate self-purification, and direct action. We have gone through all of these steps in Birmingham. There can be no gainsaying of the fact that racial injustice engulfs this community. Birmingham is probably the most thoroughly segregated city in the United States. Its ugly record of police brutality is known in every section of this country. Its unjust treatment of Negroes in the courts is a notorious reality. There have been more unsolved bombings of Negro homes and churches in Birmingham than in any other city in this nation. These are the hard, brutal, undeniable, unbelievable facts. On the basis of them, Negro leaders sought to negotiate with the city fathers, but the political leaders constantly refused to engage in good faith negotiation. Then came the opportunity last September to talk with some of the leaders of the economic community. In these negotiating sessions, certain promises were made by the merchants, such as the promise to remove the humiliating racial signs from the stores. On the basis of these promises, Reverend Shuttlesworth and the leaders of the Alabama Christian Movement for Human Rights agreed to call a moratorium on any type of demonstrations. As the weeks and months unfolded, we realized that we were the victims of a broken promise. The signs remained. As in so many experiences of the past, we were confronted with blasted hopes, and the dark shadow of deep disappointment settled upon us. So we had no alternative except that of preparing for direct action, whereby we will present our very bodies as a means of laying our case before the conscience of the local and national communities. We were not unmindful of the difficulties involved. So we decided to go through a process of self-purification. We started having workshops on nonviolence and repeatedly asked ourselves the question, are you able to accept blows without retaliating? And are you able to endure the ordeals of jail? We decided to set our direct action program around the Easter season, realizing that with exception of Christmas, this was the largest shopping period of the year. Knowing that a strong economic withdrawal program would be the byproduct of direct action, we felt that this was the best time to bring pressure on the merchants for the needed changes. Then it occurred to us that the March election was ahead. And so we speedily decided to postpone action until after Election Day. When we discovered that Mr. Connor was in the runoff, we decided again to postpone action so that the demonstrations could not be used to cloud the issues. Smart. At this time, we agreed to begin our nonviolent witness the day after the runoff. See, they was doing political demand. These guys were smart, man. Yeah, I agree. I agree. If they haven't read this, is disgraceful. Hey, Unc, I'm about to send y'all the link. Give me a second, y'all. Let me make this chat link for Unc in it. Give me a second. But I hope everyone is enjoying the read of this letter, though. Let me see. Let me start this Zoom up. Yeah. Give me a second. I'm starting this Zoom link up, y'all. Unc and them crying. Copy invite link. They crying. I don't know what they crying for. I told them I was going live and ain't nobody respond. All right, here we go. Hey, I sent y'all the Zoom link, man. Let me get back to cutting this up. All right. This reveals that we did not move irresponsibly. All right, let me let them in. They coming in with my man Vance. All right. Hey Vance, I'm gonna make you the co-host real quick, so when Unc and them come in, you can let them in, cause I'm in the middle. I'm in the middle of reading Martin Luther King letter from jail.
Okay, cool.
One of his letters from jail. What's going on with you, bro? You cool?
Oh yeah, I'm cool.
All right. All right, y'all. So remember, he's writing this to 8 white clergy members. What's going on, Sabio? I know you already read it, Sabio. All right. This reveals that we did not move irresponsibly into direct action. We too wanted to see Mr. Connor defeated. So we went through postponement after postponement to aid in this community need. After this, we felt that direct action could be delayed no longer. You can let Ken and oh, there you go. You may well ask, why direct action? Why sit-ins, marches, and so forth? Isn't negotiation a better path? You are exactly right in your call for negotiation. Indeed, this is the purpose of direct action. Nonviolent direct action seeks to create such a crisis and establish such creative tension that a community that has consistently refused to negotiate is forced to confront the issue. See, a lot of y'all think that the nonviolent direct action wasn't forceful enough. But here is Martin Luther King expressing the type of tension of what they was doing, what it caused communities. He was saying, man, this is disruptive to the economy. That's why they was doing it. When you got 400 black people marching outside of the goddamn local shopping district, it makes white people not even want to come down there and buy from the stores, right? So now the goddamn merchants in them got to start making negotiations with the black people and giving into their demands, right? Because they ain't making no money when you got 400 or 500 black people, angry black people marching up and down the street in front of the stores. White people get intimidated. They don't want to shop. They scared. Boom, boom, boom. Nobody is making money. So that forces the community, right? That forces the community to have to address the demands and issues that the group that's putting on these marches have been calling for. So let me continue. Nonviolent direct action seeks to create such a crisis and establish such creative tension that a community that has consistently refused to negotiate is forced to confront the issue. It seeks to dramatize the issue that it can no longer be ignored. I just referred to the creation of tension as a part of the work of the nonviolent resistor. This may sound rather shocking, but I must confess that I'm coming in now. Let me see. Hold on. I got him. All right. He says, I just referred to the creation of tension as part of the work of the nonviolent resistor. This may sound rather shocking, but I must confess that I am not afraid of the word tension. I have earnestly worked and preached against violent tension, but there is a type of constructive, nonviolent tension that is necessary for growth. Just as Socrates felt that it was necessary to create a tension in the mind so that individuals could rise from the bondage of myths and half-truths to the unfettered realm of creative analysis and objective appraisal. We must see the need of having nonviolent gadflies to create the kind of tension in society that will help men to raise from the dark depths of prejudice and racism to the majestic heights of understanding and brotherhood. So the purpose of direct action is to create a situation to crisis pact that it will inevitably open the door to negotiation. We therefore concur with you in the call for negotiation. Too long has our beloved Southland been bogged down in the tragic attempt to live in monologue rather than in dialogue. Let me get Brendan up in here. All right. One of the basic points in your statement is that our acts are untimely. Some have asked, why didn't you give the new administration time to act? The only answer that I can give to this inquiry is that the new administration must be prodded about as much as the outgoing. Hold on, everybody coming in. Let me let Sosa in. Brendan, I'm gonna give you this co-host.
What up, Chef? What's happening?
Ain't nothing. Trying to get through this Martin Luther King letter from the Birmingham jail to the white clergy.
All right. This is a monumental piece.
Yeah, exactly.
The brother Sabio said in the chat, he said, if you guys haven't read this, that's disrespectful.
Definitely is. All right.
Peace to the Sabio.
Yes, sir. All right, let me get back to it. Why didn't you get all right, so I guess the clergy had asked, Martin and them to give the new administration time, right? Like they just got in office. You ain't even give them time. Nah, Martin, like, man, look, we got to get on the new administration fast because we let the old administration wait too long. They kept telling us we'd get to it. Listen to what he's saying. The old administration was saying, look, we gonna get to it. This ain't the right time. So Martin said, man, we was tired of all of that. So when the new administration came in, we jumped right on their ass, right? They were gonna have to do something now, right? And and the reason for me reading it is to show that that racism, living under racism, right, was such a burden on the black community that, they couldn't wait. Their whole life was engulfed in this racism. White people could easily say, let's wait, this, that, and the third, right? Older people would say, well, that's just the way it is. That was a great thing while Martin and them, they were young. Young people don't want to wait. Young people want the world to change right now. They're not comfortable with the way the world is. When we get in our 40s, we get comfortable with the way the world is. You know what I mean? We learn how to navigate the world, right? The way it is, and we get comfortable. But when you're young, you see all of the problems and you want to fix that shit. So change is always spearheaded by the young people. Martin Luther King and them, they was in their 20s and 30s when they was doing this shit. But let me get back to it. He says, why didn't you give the new administration time to act? He says, the only answer that I can give to this inquiry is that the new administration must be prodded about as much as the outgoing one before it acts. I'm sorry. We will be sadly mistaken if we feel that the election of Mr. Bothwell will bring the millennium to Birmingham. While Mr. Bothwell is much more articulate and gentle than Mr. Connor, they are both segregationists dedicated to the task of maintaining the status quo. The hope I see in Mr. Bothwell is that he will be reasonable enough to see the futility of massive resistance to desegregation. But he will not see this without pressure from the devotees of the civil rights. My friends, I must say to you that we have not made a single gain in civil rights without determined legal and nonviolent pressure. History is the long and tragic story of the fact that privileged groups seldom give up their privileges voluntarily. Individuals may see the moral light and voluntarily give up their unjust posture. But as Reinhold Niebuhr has reminded us, groups are more immoral than individuals. Y'all hear that? Groups are more immoral than individuals. See, if you catch a person one-on-one, right, they ain't gonna be as harsh. But when you get a mob together, that mob group mentality, a white person alone wouldn't go up to a black man and lynch him, right? But a group of white people, oh yeah, nigga ass in trouble. You feel me? A nigga ass in trouble, but let me get to it. We know through painful experience that freedom is never voluntarily given by the oppressor. It must be demanded by the oppressed. Frankly, I have never yet engaged in a direct action movement that was well-timed according to the timetable of those who have not suffered unduly from the disease of segregation. For years now, I have heard the word, wait. It rings in the ear of every Negro with a piercing familiarity. This wait has almost always meant never. It has been a tranquilizing, thalidomide, revealing the emotional stress for a moment, only to give birth to an ill-formed infant of frustration. We must come to see with the distinguished jurists of yesterday that justice too long delayed is justice denied. We have waited for more than 340 years for our God-given constitutional rights. The nations of Asia and Africa are moving with jet-like speed toward the goal of political independence, and we still creep at horse and buggy pace toward the gaining of a cup of coffee at a lunch counter. I guess it is easy for those who have never felt the stinging darts of segregation to say, wait. But when you have seen vicious mobs lynch your mothers and fathers at will and drown your sisters and brothers at whim, when you have seen hate-filled policemen curse, kick, brutalize, and even kill your black brothers and sisters with impunity, when you see the vast majority of your 20 million Negro brothers smothering in the airtight cage of poverty in the midst of an affluent society, when you suddenly find your tongue twisted and your speech stammering as you seek to explain to your 6-year-old daughter why she cannot go to the public amusement park that has just been advertised on television, and see tears welling up in her eyes, in her little eyes, when she is told that Funtown is closed to colored children, and see the depressing clouds of inferiority begin to form in her little mental sky, and see her begin to distort her little personality by unconsciously developing a bitterness towards white people, when you have to concoct an answer for a 5-year-old son asking in agonizing pathos, Daddy, why do white people treat colored people so mean? When you take a cross-country drive and find it necessary to sleep night after night in the uncomfortable corners of your automobile because no motel will accept you, when you are humiliated day in and day out by nagging signs reading white and colored, when your first name becomes nigger and your middle name becomes boy, however old you are, and your last name becomes John, and when your wife and mother are never given the respectable title of Mrs. when you are hurried by day and haunted by night by the fact that you are a Negro, living constantly in tiptoe stance, never knowing what to expect next, and plagued with inner fears and outer resentments, when you are forever fighting a degenerating sense of nobodiness, then you will understand why we find it difficult to wait. There comes a time when the cup of endurance runs over and men are no longer willing to be plunged into an abyss of injustice where they experience the bleakness of corroding despair. I hope, sirs, you can understand our legitimate and unavoidable impatience. I'm going to pause right there because that last paragraph, if you didn't live there at that time, that if you can't understand what black people went through and how we felt at that time, Martin Luther King summed it up, right? And his words, it can't get no better than that. Now, I know James Baldwin was a bad motherfucking writer, but the way Martin Luther King just put how racism affected us and how it felt to the Negro in the 50s and 60s, man. Let me see. All right. Where y'all at?
Shit, you rocking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you understand how powerful he was, just with his words. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's one thing to understand it, but it's another way to be able to articulate it in that fashion. You know what I'm saying?
Man. He definitely, man, he put that, man. He was talking to white preachers, right? That he was in communication with, right? So, you know, they was telling him, man, you need to hold off, get a city time, you know, we gonna fix this, boom, boom, boom. And he's saying, man, yo, we can't wait. We can't be on your time schedule. You don't go through what we go through. And he told him, I know y'all well-meaning, right? He said, I believe in y'all sincerity, right? As white clergy, right? I believe in y'all sincerity, but we can't wait. You feel me? Like, this is how this shit feel to us. If the house is on fire, we got to get out. The fire got to be put out. You know what I mean? We can't wait for you to say, yo, just stay in there until the fire truck come. No, motherfucker, get me out this house now. The fire is on me now. But go ahead, y'all.
And the way he phrased it in that letter, like how he phrased it like that, surely I believe you're all men of goodwill. Mm-hmm. That's psychologically already disarming right there. You understand me? Psychological. Yeah. You feel me? So now it's like, okay, all right, I am a good man of goodwill. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So his words are precise. It's very strategical. You know what I mean? Very strategical.
That's a fact. What's up, Brendan?
Yeah, in terms of how powerful some of those words are, right? There were also images going out around the country at the same time, right? Like, for instance, I'll kind of show you a couple of the famous ones that they even have at the African American Museum. We kept talking about this, and we talk about the Pine Bluff sit-ins, right? And the famous picture on the left there, you know, the guy subject to Jim Crow and the separate but equal, so to speak, right? Mm-hmm. These images were sort of going out around the country at the same time, right? And you can't ignore right? When these guys were doing sit-ins, right? They were doing sit-ins around the entire country at the time, right? I actually spoke with one of my partners. He was an older guy. He was about around 65 or so. He was talking about, he was like, yeah, we were actually doing sit-ins back at my hometown as well, right? Those guys were doing sit-ins as well, right? So these things were like happening around the country. You talking about nonviolent resistance, and the images of the inequality was going out at the same time. So, yep.
It's a fact. That is a fact, man. I always, I think, you know, probably tomorrow I'm gonna read another piece. I have a James Baldwin piece that always moved me every time, you know, I read it. So I think I'm a do that when tomorrow. And I think we should revisit some of these writings from the civil rights era, right? And is a great channel that's out. Is a guy that is an old white guy who he done archived all of these old interviews with people from the 50s and 60s, and they tell how it was to live in those times, man. And it's, man, to hear those people talk about what they, you know, went through, right? And how it felt, right? Just how it felt.
What's the channel?
I gotta look for it, but it is dope as hell, man. It's dope. When I find it, I'll put it in the back chat. I'm about to look for it now. What's going on, Oh, he muted out.
All right, I stepped away.
Probably. He just came in here. Sabio, I know you wanted to get in. What's going on, Sabio?
Peace. What up, y'all? What up? First off, Chef, I want to say that was a beautiful reading, and I didn't want to come off sounding over aggressive or rude when I said what I said at the beginning of the show. Mm-hmm. But this was something I think everybody should have read by at least the 6th grade, because I read it in the 6th grade. The whole letter.
Everybody ain't reading that in the 6th grade. Like,
listen, I'm gonna tell this is listen. The reason why I read this letter in the 6th grade is my mother was a Panther, so she kept me reading stuff like this.
Right. So who else's mother's a Panther? I'm saying, bro. Like, come on.
Right, and that's why I said what I said. That's why I took that back, because
come off like that, right?
I didn't mean to come off like that. It was kind of off-putting and kind of rude because some people aren't around people who hold on.
Hey, Cujo, yo, good save. Yeah, it's yo, Cujo, man, yo, you's a sharp nigga. Like, if ain't nobody never tell you this, and you from down my way too. So I already know how you
like
get
the history
down.
Teacher, bro. So shit like that, like he knowledgeable in history, bro. Like,
yeah, no, he just gave the channel of the dude that I was talking about. Huffman. Yo, the fact that you even know about that, yo, every time this nigga say something, he impressed me, man. You sharp nigga, yo. I ain't gonna
But
again, talk about Virginia.
VA in the house, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what I was gonna continue to say, and I'll be done, is what he was really hitting on, and what my mother made me realize, was the situation that they were living in. It wasn't really conducive to living. They literally were like living back like in the 1800s in their minds. That's how bad it was. That's why his words were so powerful and rang a bell and had such an impact at that time. And like I said in the chat, like I got the whole letter here, and right behind that I have a dream speech, the whole letter. Like they're actually to be read together. And a lot of people don't know that, but they are to be read together.
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope. Magic Mike, what's up, bro?
What's going on, my friend, man? Hey, thanks for opening up with that. That was very powerful.
Appreciate it. What'd you think about it?
So Dr. Martin Luther King, how old was he around
In
that time and that.
63, he was born in 29. So in 63, Brendan, do that calculation.
Like 30, it was like 36, something like 36, 34, something like that.
Gotcha. Yeah, and so it's interesting how that cry for justice, continued throughout the rest of his life, and never only incremental changes up until his passing, assassination. So that was just a continuous cry throughout the whole time. I wonder what he would say now in this last 20 years if he was writing to clergy members today, kind of what that message would be, kind of in line with the title of the chat about what do we do about racism.
Yeah, that's deep. That's a question right there.
Because most of the images, I think Brendan mentioned the images, most of what he talked about and he was crying out about are no longer really an issue. Certainly not an issue like they were in that day, but there are other issues now. What are those prevalent issues now that he would be advocating for so strongly?
Yeah, that's a question for us, though.
Yeah,
that's deep. That's a question for modernity for us.
right. Like, will Martin Luther King be opposed to the Black Lives Matter movement?
I think he would.
He'd be opposed to hip hop. I know that.
I'd be opposed to hip hop, but I don't think he would be opposed to the Black Lives Matter movement.
I think he'll be opposed to the direction that they're going in.
Let me just say, I think, because even when they were doing the movement, we still, and I like the way that Martin was laying out his strategy in terms of a nonviolent protest and how protesting affects income. You know what I mean? How he was laying it out. And then when you fast forward to 2022, you have people that will say, all that damn march ain't gonna get nothing, and they'll take it even back. You know what I mean? And they'll use that to say that we shouldn't march, we shouldn't protest, which I would think would be the anti what Martin Luther King was about.
Facts. You wake up yet?
And I would say this as well. I don't know how you guys think about this. I guess you would say the distinction between what you would say the grassroots groundswell related to the Black Lives Matter movement, right, as being something somewhat different than the organizational arm of the Black Lives Matter movement, right? In my mind, those are things that are somewhat distinct and different, right? Where I could actually agree with the groundswell and the grassroots piece, right? Maybe not so much, right? I don't necessarily agree with the organizational arm of it. So,
yeah,
right. No, but there's a difference between Black Lives Matter and the Black Lives Matter movement,
right?
I mean, so sometimes people think that it's all one and the same. It's different.
Not
Black Lives Matter is its own entity. The Black Lives movement is a coalition of other African American groups in conjunction with the Black Lives Matter. So,
right. And I don't know if you guys ever had a chance to actually review this. This is an old piece that I had back in college. I bought this. It's called "Remembering Jim Crow." Right.
I read that in years. I read that since I was in college.
Dude, this was probably over 15, 20 years ago, Sabio. They did this. It was actually a piece. It's called the Behind the Veil Project that was done by Duke University, and it has a lot of these narratives and stories. It's got it's got 2 CDs, and it's about 2 hours worth of just narrative about people who lived through the segregated South and some of their accounts, right? Maybe when we have time on a show, we can listen to those, some of these narratives as well, because those are really powerful. Sort of reminds me of the series that you're just talking about, Chef.
Well, Eyes on the Prize.
I need to grab that link out the chat. You say
Have y'all
link in the chat? Shall you put it in the back chat?
No, I'm about to put it in there now. I'm looking for the channel now. I had to find the guy name.
have y'all ever watched any of the Eyes on the Prize series?
Yeah, they used to play that on television back in the days, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. I remember that. I remember watching that as a kid. Most of it was in black and white, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I remember they used to play it on CBS.
Yep.
Right? Around the Dr. Martin Luther King birthday. They would always play it, right?
Mm-hmm. I got the book. Well, I grew up reading the books in the series. You see, that's what I'm talking about. So I was kind of privileged or privy to that information at a young age. I didn't read all of them. I read the things that I felt would help me connect history up. So if I seen something in a history class that I didn't fully understand, I would grab something from that era and connect it up like that to help me better understand slavery and history and how these things all worked out. But
yeah, that's
and this is a really good, I guess, topic where you remember you say, what should we do about racism, right? And one of the interesting things for me about it is that I don't know if you guys have ever gone online and taken what they call a cognitive bias test.
mm-hmm.
You would be surprised, right? Even yourself, right? How or unknowingly, right? You could even be a black person could be racist against black people.
Yeah.
Until you
actually hold biases against your own people facts.
Exactly. I was really surprised. I got online once and I took a cognitive bias test, and it was based on a few different elements, right? One of them was your bias against ageism, right? One was biased against sexism, right? Male versus female, right? And then the other one was biased against race, right? And it sort of leads out. I won't spoil it if anybody wants to actually go online and take one, but I'll just give you, for example, a cognitive bias against ageism, right? It flat out asks you in the very beginning. He says, "Do you prefer, right, your associations with older people or younger people, right?" Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, well, I like hanging out with older people more. I usually don't hang around younger people, right? And it went through a series of questions, right? And showing images and says, okay, well, do you think that this is a negative image or a positive image? Showing older people and younger people, asking you questions. How would you associate this image with this particular question, right? And at the very end of it, right, it wasn't anything how I thought it would be. Like, no, you
because it's based off the percentages.
Right. And it's based off a lot of questions that you wouldn't necessarily it's sort of how they ask the questions. It's not very direct.
Facts.
Right? And it unveils that what we call that implicit bias under the surface that you wouldn't normally recognize. Right. And at the end of it, it says that nope, you're absolutely biased against older people, Brendan. Right. I was like, dude, you would never actually think about that. And what it does, right, when you take those types of tests, it's meant to make you aware of your own cognitive bias, right? So that you could actually counteract that, right, in your social interactions.
Facts.
So I think I think a lot of people, if you've never took a cognitive bias test, do it. I think it's a great tool.
And you know what? I'm glad you brought that up because if you remember, I'm always one person to talk about cognitive biases and cognitive dissonance and how they lead up. And this is something that I had to learn about in college. And I'm glad that I did because I can catch it on when I'm having them, when I'm biased towards information. And sometimes I have to check myself and I don't. Oh, yeah. And that's because I want my information to be dominant and be correct. And this is And this is where we have to learn how to slow down and let other information enter into our realms. And we all suffer from these.
Right.
And if you take that test, you will see how many biases you hold and how to. I haven't taken one, but I know about them because I know about cognitive dissonance tests and all those different types of psychological tests that you can take to see where you stand.
Right.
And it's just interesting that you said you took one and you realized that you had these biases because most people won't even take them.
Right. They don't want to even recognize that, that the bias is there. Like for instance,
Right.
Here's another example, right? And I'll go back to the I don't know if you guys used to watch the old episode of Fred Sanford, right? When Fred had to go to the dentist, right? And his idea was like, okay, well, he was never really considered like he was always, for the brother, man, up until it was time for him to get his oral surgery done, right? And then now he wants a white dentist, right? Those types of they actually that those types of questions, right? In terms of like expertise, right? Do you think that this would be a professional or a better doctor, or do you think the image of this one would be better? Right, and it flips up the questions, and it does it so fast where it's making you do it sort of based on reflex. You know what I mean? So it doesn't give you enough time to actually think about it. It's trying to get you to do it on reflex, right? And then it comes back and says you're actually biased against, in terms of professionalism, right?
Yo, Chef.
You think that white people are more professional than black people, those types of things.
Yeah,
Right.
that's they talk about that in psychology, especially college psychology, developmental psychology, right? And they talk about how they structure those tests, right? And they also talk about,
Can I share my screen real quick, Chef?
Just hold on one second, Ray. They come do it. They also talk about how the confirmation biases, those cognitive biases, like they're hardwired into your brain.
Right.
So, beyond just the believing brain, your brain also hardwired for cognitive bias and confirmation biases. You know what I'm saying? And it always, right, it's a useful tool out in the savannah. You know what I'm saying? So some of those things are there, even stereotyping people. So in psychology, they have what's called like a conversation about what do we do about racism. They have these things that they test, and for more laymen, they put it under what's called us versus them, right? And because we put ourselves in the groups, you know what I'm saying, in groups within groups. We might be we might be a group of African Americans, but then everybody put on a football hat, and I got Cowboys on, and you got the Baltimore Ravens on. Now we arrange ourselves in Cowboys versus, you see what I'm saying? And so there's always those type of biases, and those biases normally goes past who you consider an in group. You know what I'm saying? Who you identify as us. You know what I'm saying you're more social with, so there's a natural prejudice to people who you consider a them, however that them is, whether there's sexuality, whether there's sports teams, whether it's high school, whether it's, you know what I mean? So it's crazy how they do it though. But those tests are pretty efficient.
They pretty informative.
Yeah, they are. And what I should do is I should go in here to the cognitive in the psychology book that I was just showing. This Essentials of Psychology book that I have from Forest Park Community College that I kept. And I should go in here. I'm actually looking at stereotypes, prejudice, and discrimination. I actually was able to open the book to prejudice, why we can't all just get along. Wow. Ain't this about nothing? I don't have it marked or anything, but I have that I opened the book to that section.
Yeah, so biases within themselves are not necessarily wrong. I just think that from the unconscious bias standpoint, you just need to kind of know what you're working with within yourself. But we're not going to get rid of biases.
No, they're useful.
we shouldn't. Yeah.
That's my point. They're
So,
useful tools, even stereotyping, all this stuff.
so
They're useful tools, but just like in the sense of having a scientific mind, you gotta, you know what I'm saying, you're actually working against your natural state. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you're training your brain
so
to work against your natural state to use reason and logic to rule out confirmation bias and cognitive biases.
let me share my
Yeah.
screen again so y'all can see this chapter that I'm looking at. This is crazy. I mean, this is really insane.
You
How I
about to say
just
something,
did
Mike?
that.
I hear you.
Yeah. So the Fred Sanford, as you're getting your screen together, the Fred Sanford example, if he's been only exposed to white physicians, white dentists, white professionals, medical professionals, and then here comes some non-white professionals coming along, he's a little bit more skeptical because most of the black professionals are probably, I don't know, carpentry or whatever else other than medical.
Right.
So that bias is legit based off of his experiences, as long as he's not saying because you're black, you can't become a dentist. If as long as he doesn't go
Right.
that far, or you can't be a good dentist, then
Right.
he's good.
Right.
All right. So this is chapter 10. I happened to open the book to chapter 10. I didn't even know it was chapter 10. I just opened the book to chapter 10. And this is about how do we understand and interact with others? Attitudes in our mind, forming impressions of each other, prejudice, why we can't just get along, the nature of attraction, groups, how do we influence others, requests and demands, aggression, hurting others, pro-social behavior. Will you or won't you help others? All right, so it starts out talking about social psychology and acquiring attitudes through learning. And it goes through these different phases, and then it gets to cognitive consistency and dissonance theory. I don't know if anybody heard of these. I mean, this will be a whole psychology class. I'm not going to just go through all these. I'm just going to show you how all these levels help you lead to building ideas and thoughts and impressions about the world. All right. And as you continue to grow, things will continue to change. This is where your biases will start forming through your interactions with the world and people. So here come the biases around. So once you get through, and I don't even want to explain it. Like I was just saying, this is weird and unexplainable to me how I opened it to this chapter and we're sitting here talking about biases. For real, that's all. And like I'm sitting here looking at all the biases that we're all talking about, the cognitive biases, the availability biases, the heuristic bias, all those different biases that we go through, and we don't even recognize that we're going through these biases. We just act like it's normal and this is life, and we should just accept things that people tell us. I'm trying to cut this camera off and I'm tripping. My bad. Let me get this camera. All right.
That's why, especially when we be doing things like reading history and reading different arguments, even scientific arguments, you have to read the other side. Even though it may be painful sometimes, but you have to explore the other side. You have to allow yourself to entertain the other side. So you have to walk into the situation neutral and explore yourself to both neutrally to both sides of the argument.
Man,
to get a full understanding of what's going on.
You absolutely right. So I have a video that I want to play next. Right, we done read the Martin Luther King segregation piece. I watched this video. God damn, I put the link in the chat too, in the YouTube chat, yo. To the dude channel. But now I'm going play a video called "The Selling of the Negro," right? And this was created by the Department of Commerce, right? That's government, federal agency, right? The Department of Commerce was ahead of the segregation thing. They knew it was coming, right? The government knew it was coming. So they actually made teaching programs telling white business owners how to sell to the Negro. Because, you know what I mean? They basically was telling them, yo, this is the purchasing power of this group that y'all are not allowing to shop in y'all stores, right? Like, y'all racism is actually stunting y'all economic
bottom line.
Exactly. Yo, the government had to tell these motherfucking white people this shit, right? Like, yo, are y'all following behind these stupid ass white people, right? That's very, but y'all got businesses. Yo, these people work in the same plants are making the same amount of money as, you know, middle class white people now, and they want the same things. Right? So you got a whole community of people who gonna buy that new refrigerator. And man, listen, I'm gonna play this. Man, look, when y'all look at this, right, y'all gonna be able to see that they seen our what you call our inferiority. They knew that they had placed inferiority in us, and they knew that we were constantly trying to climb out of that. And the things that we would do to try to look more like them. They said that's how you get their money. And it's like, yo, middle class white people is shit that middle class white. They was telling you how you can make more money off the same product from a black person. Like, you can sell what you would sell to a white person, right? You can sell it to a Negro for damn near 3 times that amount. And they gonna buy, if they think the white man got it, they gonna spend more money to get it. This is the Department of Commerce was telling white man, this shit is crazy.
Psychology. Psychology. Yeah,
psychology. But go ahead, I'm gonna cue this video up. I gotta find it, but y'all go ahead.
And that's a lot like too when you look at the gang culture in particular communities, right? You may have people in those communities, especially in a small community, who want to serve black. But if you're in a community and when the sheriff is a part of the KKK, you know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, you know what I mean? Like I don't even have the muscle to even go against the status quo of the neighborhood. I got to stay in line. You know what I mean? I can't, you know what I mean? Risk, because most white folks ain't gonna risk, you know what I mean? The livelihood of their families, you know what I'm saying? Where they can just follow status quo. You know what I mean? So that's always the case. And then shout out to those white people who did. You know what I'm saying?
But hey, Chef, before you play it, what were the reasons outside of general hate, dislike, and discomfort that they did not want to start selling to us? Because if we dismiss hate and all of that, there were some other reasons why they couldn't see that clear message that the Department of Commerce were giving them. What were those reasons if it goes into that, or what do you think?
Probably status, you know, and general racism and status. You know, white people probably felt as though they, you know, coming out of slavery, right? A lot of white people, you know, felt as though they didn't want to compete or live amongst Negroes, right? And that was a way for you to determine your status in society, right? As in who you was above, right? So even if you worked on a chicken farm, right? You were still above the Negro, and even if a Negro made more money than you, right? You were still above him socially some sort of way, right? So I think in far as wise segregating the stores and public places, it allowed white people to feel as though they was superior, right?
Chef,
Go ahead.
the way they were superior is the law. It was written into the Constitution. You have to remember that they were still passing laws and things to make Black people what? Citizens of this country.
Yeah, but what he asked, what was
So
what did I think the reasons was for them to, you know what I mean?
so that was a major reason right there because they were due to the law,
No,
which is the reason why they still feel that way now.
No, the people wanted the laws to be such. Like, before, listen, you elect people that's going to do things that's going, you know what I mean, keep shit the way you want it. Like, those elected officials had the sentiments of the white population that they came from, right? So they did their bidding. Like, these politicians wasn't in isolation. The first place politicians go is to the community. They go to the church. They see the temperament of their voting base. I'm not saying good book to read is from Superman to Man by J.A. Rogers. Right? Oh, my bad, yo. We got No Saint on here. Hey, No Saint, you wanted to chime in before I play this video? Him and Unc sleep.
I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say too, like, you look at the birth of a nation, the rise and power of the Ku Klux Klan in the antebellum South, and their rise, like they did not only just control neighborhoods, they controlled politics and policing. So, like, whatever was status quo, it took federal ordinance to break the Klan. You know what I'm saying? Like, without that federal shit, nigga, we still be entrenched in the same shit. You know what I'm saying? But once it became federal, and then the federal government was able to, apply different pressures and break the Klan, that opened the door for, for people to change positions and actually pursue money over some type of ideology.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's deep.
Yeah, I actually think I think there's some economic reasoning as well. The more you can deprive a group of people of access to amenities, luxuries, better technology, better appliances, whatever they were selling that Black people maybe eventually got, but had to, go through so many hoops because they couldn't get it conveniently from the white stores. The more you're able to keep them in that position, the better off. And yeah, maybe we can make some more money if we open it up to everyone. But now I got to worry about this new customer base, and now, maybe my peer competitor around the street, they may gain more business, and I may go out of business and open up new. I think it's a lot more potentially than just racism from an economic standpoint.
Yeah, could be. Like I said, I accept all of it. You know what I mean? I think it's a litany of things. You know what I mean? Not just one thing. It's a whole bunch of things that went into it. I mean, it's just crazy to be born in.
But race is the motivating factor.
It's crazy to be living in 2022, and we can read about it and think about it, but truly we can't even fathom.
We can't even fathom what they were going through.
Shit is like, it's just beyond our true imagination to fully understand what the fuck was going on and how it is what the psychology of a person living in that time. It's crazy.
Wow. Just to have the mental fortitude and the testicular fortitude to survive that time. Like, think about it.
You better play some stuff. You ready?
Oh yeah, y'all ready?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. So you see I got outlawed disclaimer up there.
Yeah. That's it. remember this.
Well, move that over there. You got the level on that, Joe?
Hey, how's this video coming through?
The light's hot enough?
Don't forget the dolly and close. All right, return, stay clear, number 2 camera, and all set. Stand by.
You see that? Lord King, we acknowledge with the thanks the cooperation of the United States Department of Commerce in preparing this film.
Yeah, I remember this shit. Because, you know, some of this shit would be like, the Negro family is so-and-so and so-and-so. When you watch, I'd be like, yo.
My professor, Miss Wood, did exactly what you did. She said, I want y'all to read this. She paused it and she said, I want y'all to read this. Exactly right here. That's crazy.
Hello, I'm Bob Trout. I've got a story here that I think is big, really big, because it's bound to have a terrific impact on business. I'm talking about a new market, a big new market, millions upon millions of new prospects with $15 billion to spend. That's right, I said $15 billion. That's a lot of money, isn't it? The surprising thing is that it's a fresh market, still full of opportunities. It grew up so fast, got so big in a hurry, that few of us realize its scope. Now these days, nobody's likely to pass up chances to sell. And yet right here in our own front yard, there's a neglected market. There's money waiting to be spent. To get the story of this market, to be able to tell you the secret of selling the Negro, we did a lot of digging. We talked to leading businessmen, to customers, and to salesmen. We went to Washington, D.C. We set up cameras and other key points around the nation. And out of this all, there emerged a story, the story of a new market. Yes, this is the market we're talking about, the new Negro family. Their name is Wells or Wilson, Smith or Brown or Alexander or Breen. They live in Chicago, in Atlanta or New York, in Detroit, St. Louis, Los Angeles, any one of 1,000 cities and towns. All over the country, families such as this are enjoying new prosperity. They have new interests, new standards of living, a buying power they've never enjoyed before. They're good prospects for practically all types of goods and services. All too often, though, they're overlooked prospects. Why? Because of some good, valid reason? No. They're overlooked because of mistaken ideas, because of out-of-date ideas about how the Negro lives and how he buys. The truth of the matter is that the Negro lives pretty much the same as other folks. He buys pretty much the same way, too. But just the same, a lot of old doubts and opinions keep cropping up over and over again.
I don't like to do business with Negroes. They're drifters. You can't keep track of them.
Yes, although a lot of people think that way, the truth is that 1 out of every 3 Negro families living in cities today owns its own home. That figure comes directly from the United States Bureau of Census.
Maybe so, but Negroes are poor credit risks.
Not more of a credit risk than any other group. Actually, the Negro homebuyer meets his payments faithfully, often more faithfully than other race groups in the same economic level. That's the information we got from people who ought to know, the National Association of Real Estate Boards.
Well, maybe, but I've always heard that Negroes buy shoddy, poor quality merchandise.
No, it's just the other way around. According to leading researchers, in proportion to population and income, Negroes buy more quality products than any other comparable United States group. You see, there are a lot of confused notions about the Negro customer, but when you dig right down and find out about them, they just don't hold water. Negroes own homes. They meet their payments faithfully. They buy good brands of merchandise. So why let a lot of old-fashioned ideas hurt profits? Take a look at the real facts. Here in Washington, D.C., the nation's capital, some amazing facts and figures about this new market have been uncovered. For a first-hand report, we would like to take you directly to the United States Department of Commerce to hear this story from the Secretary of Commerce himself. Here is the Honorable Sinclair Weeks, the Secretary of Commerce of the United States.
In the Department of Commerce, we are constantly alert to trends that mean a healthier national economy, better business for the nation as a whole. Recently, we have been interested in a rising young market, one that represents a huge potential for goods and services. I'm referring to the new Negro market. The tremendous buying power of this group is backed, of course, by an increased earning power. The average Negro family's income is at a record high. In fact, since 1939, it has increased more than the average income of all other Americans. Just take a look at a few figures. An official Department of Commerce report shows that at least 1/3 of the Negroes living in cities earn from $2,000 to $5,000 a year. Today, the average Negro wage earner brings home a paycheck 4 times larger than the one he collected in 1939. As a whole, the Negro market has a total income of about $15 billion every year. And after taxes, Negro families still have many billions of dollars to spend. Here is a buying power that cannot help but have a tremendous effect on our national economy and on business prosperity in general. When these dollars are spent for a wide range of goods, services, and employment, business everywhere is bound to feel the impact.
This new buying power has resulted in a class Negro market, a profitable, above-average income group of consumers. For example, the nation's largest newspaper and magazine research organization, Daniel Starch and Staff, reports these significant figures. More than 51% of the readers of Ebony magazine have a record player in their homes. Almost 64% own a television set. And almost 78% enjoy the convenience of an electric refrigerator. It is also a fact, and this is from the magazine The Food Field Reporter, that Negroes spend almost $3 billion a year for food alone. Per capita, they buy more cosmetics, drugs, and toiletries than anyone else in the country. And their children are better educated, too, because since 1930, enrollment in Negro colleges is up 2,500%. But really, to recognize the importance of this class Negro market, we must realize that something has been happening economically in our country. People are on the move. The population is shifting. The makeup of metropolitan populations today is different than it was just a few short years ago. To give you a better idea of what we mean, we set up several cameras, candid cameras, in a number of shopping locations. Take a look at these shoppers. Notice what a large proportion of them are Negroes. What's the reason? It's simply this. Negro families are moving into the cities where there are more job opportunities. Here they find occupations with more prestige and security, jobs that pay more money. As a result, Negro families today often make up the largest part of central city consumer prospects. A shoe store in Chicago's Loop, for example, reports that more than 50% of its customers are Negroes. In another case, a drugstore located at a transfer point in a non-Negro neighborhood finds that its Negro customers total 25%. The trend is plain. The new Negro families today are moving into more populated areas, to the cities, where there are more stores, more buying opportunities. Since 1940, in San Francisco alone, the Negro market has increased by 89%. In Chicago, by 81%. Houston, Texas, 45%. Philadelphia, 50%. The impact of this new buying force is so tremendous that actually in 14 major United States markets, a product cannot be number one without Negro support. A product must have the backing of this big new buying power to be a leader in the field.
I had a question, right?
What do you commentary?
I got a lot of questions.
In terms of this video, right? It seems like a piece that was created for a target audience. Who would that target audience be for this, right? Because I'm sort of listening to it, and I work in sales, right? And it gives me sort of reminiscent of sales training when you're doing targeted sort of marketing campaigns, right? And it's very strange that you would have one that would be targeted.
And that's a great question.
For the
and it's because it's targeted for both.
Let him make a statement. So we'll cut him. Go ahead.
Right. It seems to be, it feels like I'm watching a sales training video, right? That's focused on the Negro, right? It's very, very, very odd, right?
Well, let me say something real quick. This is a great show.
Yes, it is.
And they're not actually focusing on the Negro. They're actually focusing on the white business owner.
Yeah.
Let's get this straight. Like, I understand what's going on. And then all y'all listening is crazy as hell, because that's exactly what they were supposed to do. Because at the end of the day, money talking, bullshit walk, it's always been about business. The slave trade was business, man. Being an American and being an African American is business. We had forgot about that. See, if your business is straight and you got that straight, it's hard for people to say something. Real hard. So it's about business, and they were showing, hey, man, y'all got some real outdated ideas here. That shit real outdated. You better get with this money. You better get with this $1 billion industry coming through here. Like, what is you talking about? It's the same thing with the homosexual community. Like, y'all a little bit off code with that. That ain't what it. They spend millions of dollars. Right? And yeah, we don't care about all that. Because what makes this engine run is business. You gonna stop cutting me off, yo. I ain't fighting to talk. I don't want to do that. I don't want to fight to talk. I want to get it out. Don't make me fight to talk. Then I gotta raise my voice. Then I gotta do what I'm doing right now. And I ain't gonna break my train of thought. So let me get right back into what I'm saying. It's business at the end of the day. I think we forget about that. Our religion, if we so choose to have one, need to be business. It has to be a business around it. Everything is business. The ants that's in your backyard, they're about the business of taking care of the ants, meaning gaining resources to feed the next generation. The world we live in, nature, the cosmos, it's about business. It's a business arrangement. Spirituality has to be business. And that film was about business. We don't care what color it is. They spend their bread. They like quality products. And y'all need to get it or y'all get left behind. Yeah, I'll check out for a minute.
And my bad. I wasn't trying to cut you off. I just wanted to add something on to what you were saying.
I don't need you to add on. You don't never got to add on to me. I got mine. Like, it's well thought out. I'm not just jumping on the feed talking shit. Well thought out, well organized. As a matter of fact, Chef, I really appreciate it. I appreciate everything you said. I appreciate all the commentary. That's why I talk about John Henry Clark and them. That's why I talk about Chicago Diop's and them. That's why I talk about all that shit. And we expected them to get all that shit right in the middle of all that. Nah, yo, they did what they could do. Now it's up for us to take that shit forward. I'm gonna check out.
Let me give a modern day example of how that affected our society in more modern times. When the owner of Starbucks, when Starbucks came out, Starbucks was placed in predominantly white neighborhoods, right? Now, it was Magic Johnson that was like, yo, I want to take these Starbucks and put these Starbucks in black neighborhood, because the white dude was like, I don't think black people are gonna spend money for Starbucks like that. And I think Magic Johnson invested over like 100 and something stores, and it's just got the booming. You know what I'm saying? And that's why those Starbucks is now are in those black neighborhoods, generating a whole bunch of income. I forgot how many millions of dollars Magic made off that particular stock, but that's the same type of modern day example, that same type of psychology thinking. Well, black people is not, you know what I mean? White people do this, black people won't invest or involve themselves in this. And so Magic Johnson, good example.
So
yeah, that's why I asked that question though, because you hear the objections that they had, as false as they were all business objections. You know, the objections that the Starbucks owners had, you know, to Magic and whoever else were business related.
Yeah.
So like I think the business part of this is huge. Also, the film really focused on major metropolitan areas in the West, North, and Northeast. I'm not sure how many blacks were living like that when Martin Luther King was writing that message in jail in his areas. I think it's just kind of a little difference. And I don't know when that film was made either, but that's one thing I noticed as well.
Yeah,
the
see,
population areas they targeted.
Yeah, see, that's why, you know, I played that after reading the letter, because, you know, white people or the commerce, like he said how their direct action program was targeted at affecting the business. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? And these were the same places that was telling them that they couldn't shop and frequent at those stores. But like I said before, the government was already ahead of the population. See, the races was outdated. The world was moving forward, right? Martin Luther King was telling the preachers, the white preachers, we're not living like this no more, right? So everybody was moving forward, and the races, they was, at that point, they were falling behind. That shit wasn't tenable no more in the new world that was coming about. The people's minds was changing. Black people was making too much money. Martin Luther King and them was educated. These was college students. You dig what I'm saying? All of those things that black people was denied, right, decades before, right, they were now moving forward. They were being college educated. They were homeowners living in the same cities, right, working in the same factories as white people, right? The world was moving forward. And the government saying, and remember, this was in part produced by the Department of Commerce.
Right.
You dig what I'm saying? They was, look, we know it's coming. And they was saying, look, you white store owners, y'all doing yourselves a disservice feeding into these racist white people, you know, stereotyping these people. They look, they buy refrigerators, right? They buy automobiles. Like, y'all need to give them more mortgages. Why? Because our numbers is saying that they pay their mortgages even quicker than white people, right? But when you further get into it, he actually goes into the reasoning behind that. Right? He started giving the psychological reasons why the Negro want these things, why he keeps his credit up. And I remember my mother used to always tell, boy, pay your bills on time, because her parents, you know, my mother was a baby boomer, right? So her parents was born in, you know, the 20s or whatever, blase. So they taught my mother, who was born in the 50s, right? You know, this was the first time that they was owning property and stuff. So my grandmother and them taught my mother and those kids those things about credit and shit. So my mother and them taught me those things. You pay your bills on time. Make sure your credit's straight. All that shit, it meant so much to them, because they came out of a generation that it was their first time getting these type of things. And you don't want to mess that up. You don't want to look bad in front of the white man. Anytime, look, Anytime we was about to go to the hospital or whatever, my parents would make sure we got clean t-shirts and shit on, because they don't want you to look bad around white people. You know what I mean? Because they knew how white people. It's another video I want to play, right? It's a video from the 1950s, and it was they was asking white people why they didn't want their children to go to school with black children. And the sentiment of the white people, I love hearing what they was thinking. Like Sosa said, you gotta see the other side. You feel me? These white people were saying they didn't want their children to go to school with colored kids because they felt as though colored parents didn't love their kids or take care of their kids the way that white people loved and took care of their kids. And they thought that shit would
fact of morality shit.
Exactly. Because they used to be, they was like, the white people were saying, and it's hard to watch it, right? I'm a black man too. But the white people were saying, look at how many black young females, and this was in the 50s. They was like, why is all these black girls pregnant at this age? We don't want our daughters going to school with, you feel me? Then they were saying, why is there so much delinquency in black kids? When at 12 o'clock, when we are driving around town, we see young black men not in school, teenage boys. Why they all outside? Why they ain't in school? They didn't want their those things to start affecting or influencing their kids. They said the music, right? Our children love going to black kid concerts, right? They are highly influenced by that. Man, it's so deep, man. The way that they danced, they thought it was provocative. The way that we danced, the gyrating of the hips, they thought all that stuff promoted sexuality, promiscuity, right?
Yeah, because you're dealing with real conservative Christianity at that time. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's always like that was a perfect point. You always want to hear the other side, because a lot of the things that we deem as just strictly racist, it comes out of a moral and social guideline that people are trying to uphold also. And they but anyway, y'all go ahead.
Yeah, it comes out of ignorance, actually. Yeah, it comes out of ignorance and absolute ignorance, and that's why, like I've been wanting to put that on the community, that evolution was a game changer.
Study ancient civilizations, and particularly like John Henry Clark said. John Henry Clark said, study European history first. You know what I'm saying? That's the rule. Study European history first. So when you actually, hold on, let me see. Man. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Yeah. So when you study European history first, you realize, and I ain't talking about Egypt. That ain't the point. Watch this. When you study European history, you learn that their whole basis is based off of like intelligence and intellect. You feel me? So if they have an intellectual basis for something, they'll rock with that. Meaning like they want to prove how intelligent they are. So just running around enslaving people just for enslaving people just for the money of it, no, you can't do that. You got to have a intellectual explanation behind it. And that's why scientific racism was so pivotal and so important to the slave trade, because it made them felt like, look, I'm not losing any character, right? I'm not losing any character when it comes to the slave trade. Businessmen could actually put money to that because it's backed by science. It's backed by the intellectual community. We could do that. So when Charles Darwin and the like comes through and overturned that, then you're intellectual, you're a little bit, I don't know. And then they start looking at that mirror. The humans looking to start looking a little shaky there. Man, they might just be human. And when you could prove and verify that we were just as human as them, then that mirror, you start to say, I don't know. And it left a question mark in their goddamn mind. It left them with Like, man, I got a choice, huh? That's interesting. And then the point that I really want to emphasize right here, that's pivotal in the whole goddamn conversation, right? It's important for us to understand why being intellectual is so serious. Dr. Martin Luther King, right? He attacked the situation with intellect. He didn't attack it with bronze. You just couldn't attack the situation like that. On the other hand, Malcolm X and them, watch this now, they act like they was attacking it with bronze. They really just sat back. They sat back and played everybody. They really didn't do anything. I dare y'all type in Nation of Islam and the quote unquote civil rights movement and read it. Everything that they stood for was anti quote unquote civil rights movement. They wanted to be separatists, which is okay. That's that's their thing. They wanted to have their own thing away from everybody. All these things. They was like, no, we're not going for no nonviolence. You know what I'm saying? That's against our religion. We're gonna fight if you hit me upside my head. You hear all the rhetoric, right? All that, right? When in actuality, it took far more strength for Martin Luther King and them to stand up and say, yo, okay, you just hit me. You know what? I got a high cause right now. I'm not going to fight back because I know I can't win that fight. And as the rest of the world watch you sick those German shepherds on me, the police department, the K9 unit, as the rest of the world watched the fire department spray those hoses on them babies, those hoses had thousands of pounds of pressure, was knocking people across the street, busting open your skin. This is what they ain't telling you. When they seen those bottles bounce off of people's heads, the rest of the world's like, couple that with understanding science and how really we all on par with each other, man, that made them look real wild. And they was like, yo, we can't, that ain't, nah, we got to change that. So we made that change from slavery. Now we got to make that change because they got the money, right? That's another thing. They got the business and they equal and they know how to fight. Romans were renowned for their courts. You got to fight in court. So we master with all that. I'm just saying, like right now, we kind of fell back off. Like our intellect has fallen, right? We really believe we're the most spiritual, which is ridiculous. And that's why we do this. That's why the pseudo killers do this, to let you know that we just want to balance it out. I'm personally not trying to take away your spirituality. I'm simply saying the shit is out of whack. When you run around and say we're the most spiritual. No, I never hear you say we're the most scientific. I'm gonna rest my case right there.
I think the trying to take it back to where you started to, Chef, from their position, it leads back to cognitive biases, and that production was trying to erase those cognitive biases that were held by those white store owners with the old practices. So that was the whole, the whole push to remove those cognitive biases that humans form.
I would like to add, I have some disagreements. I had a formal education in Black studies, and we studied Booker T. Washington, we studied Du Bois, we studied Franklin Fraser, we studied Garvey, and
Sure.
And then we were taught those subjects by Dr. Leonard Jeffries, who was a political scientist, and Dr. John Henrik Clarke, who was Dr. Jeffries' elder. This had nothing to do with our cultural studies. It had something to do with our Black movement study. And of course, Dr. John Henrik Clarke was a mentor and a resource for Malcolm X. The difference that I have with what I just heard is that white people made an assessment, the economic white folks made an assessment that Black dollars mattered. And the rabid racist, they just couldn't comprehend the Black dollar, but understanding the segregated communities that came up out of the Booker T. Washington, where we, in 50 years, we had more Black colleges, universities, and then in the next 70 years, we had hospitals. We had Black hospitals, and we had a whole host of black businesses, and we weren't concerned about the white man at all.
Who wasn't?
But, huh?
Who wasn't concerned about the white man?
We weren't. We were living in segregated communities. We didn't interact with them.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
hey, but hey, real quick, Reggie. One thing that I think we really need.
Stay on Reggie point. Stay on Reggie point. Don't run past his point real quick. We need to stay
Nah.
right where Reggie at.
I don't understand.
Reggie.
So
Reggie, you saying what now? You don't think it was economics?
No, that's not what I said.
What you
I
saying?
said
Man, I
it's
understand.
all about economics. The people who ran economics understood the power of the black dollar. That people were being productive.
Okay.
So what they decided is, how can we reverse this segregation so that we can get access to the black dollar and break black people from being independent, right? So
No,
you made that up.
No, it's deeper than that.
You made that up. It ain't no. That's not deep. It ain't deeper than that.
Deeper.
Okay, but
yes,
you know
it is.
what? But you know what?
I'm lost.
You could
I know what Reggie's saying. Hold, Reggie. That's all you're saying. I'm gonna let you go, Reggie. You're simply saying that we were so independent and our communities were so galvanized and spending money with each other that they had to break that up. That's what you basically saying, right? Did I get you the gist of it?
Nice.
Okay, all right, we can have that discussion.
And that's in fact what they did. So what they did was, we're not talking about the rabid racists. We're black folks when we encountered. I was born in '65 in Port News, Virginia. My father was a sharecropper, and his and our whole family was a sharecropper. My great grandmother died on a plantation sharecropping. She died of exhaustion. She could have died of the bird flu, but she died during that period. She fell out and she died. And then my grandfather was orphaned, where he had to live with other family members. And so I grew up in my first 6-7 years. I grew up in Virginia, and what happened was we had our own black stores for most of our essentials, but then for clothing and things like that, we had to go to white stores. Then we had to interact with white folks for certain type of things, but we had a guy that we had people that come around, watermelon, all type of vegetables, salt pork. So we had people that would come around on carts. Old black men and women would come around on carts and go door to door. And that was the way in which most black folks lived. And some people farmed a certain type of produce, and then other people farmed another, and then what they bartered between each other for goods and services, until we needed automobiles. Then we had clothing, shoes. We had to go to the white man.
But we got to look at. Can I go, please?
Can I go? Make a statement. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
You talking to me?
Cujo, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
Yeah. What I think we need to understand is what was going on in the world at that time. You know, when we look at things like 1954, we have to understand contextually what was going on. We're just coming out of World War II. One of the main things used to justify the Japanese attacking Pearl Harbor was the fact that the United States, who boasted all of this democracy, yada, 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 had a permanent second-class citizenship of black people. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the big things that they pushed that forward insofar as them attacking the United States, because they were saying that, you know, we were an apartheid state, just like we looked at South Africa. You know what I'm saying? So coming into 1954, you have these government incentives because they're trying to make America more to appear less segregated in the eyes of the world.
Let him make a statement. Reggie,
in the eyes of the world.
Reggie, let him. Reggie, he allow you to go.
They're trying to make it look in the eyes of the world that they are this big beacon of freedom and all this shit. It wasn't
Hold on for a
done
minute.
because
Hey,
they
brother,
wanted
hold
to
on.
break up our
Stop for a
shit.
minute, brother. Freeze. Brother, freeze.
I mean,
hey, Reggie, let that man get it all off. We want to have an intelligent conversation going forward. I know you got a burning desire, but he waited patiently. All right,
big
so
up
let that man
Virginia.
finish his point. Let him hold on, bro. Let the man finish so we can get to just what he's saying. And if he's wrong, you know, we're gonna pseudo killer him to death. But go ahead, bro.
Yeah. Get me. Big up Virginia. But like I was saying, it was a more of an international thing. It wasn't necessarily to break up black communities. It did break up black communities. It did. You know, integration did break up black communities because we no longer needed to go to each other. Like Reggie was saying, we didn't need to go to each other anymore because we had these other outlets. And you know, the white man, goddamn ice is colder than ours type shit. You know what I'm saying? We could have continued going to black colleges and made ABC, CBS, and NBC come to us. But instead of trying to be a part of, you know, going to Alabama or going to these, you know, these big schools, we could have self-segregated, but we didn't. Because like the man said, and the thing that Sheffrin just showed, you know, we wanted to acclimate. We wanted to become part of the American culture. We did. And I can't blame people for doing that at all.
Freeze for a minute. Freeze for 1
Big
minute.
up Virginia.
So we need to realize that y'all act like we had access to top-notch goods in our communities. No, we didn't.
Yeah,
that
motherfuckers
shit
coming
wasn't on par
on a horse
with what everybody
selling
else
you
had.
some shit instead of going to the supermarket.
Yeah,
y'all crazy.
Let's knock that. Right, the schools wasn't up to par with the books and all that. We gotta knock that shit off right there. We were supposed to. We fought in all the wars, man. We supposed to want all the shit that Americans get. Don't give me the goddamn one-room schoolhouse with 2 books, and y'all running around with a high education thinking you smart. You only slicker because you got all that. You got all access to the fucking information. And I want that same thing.
And
right.
we wanted to compete.
No, let him finish.
We wanted to compete too. Yeah, yo, we had our HBCUs, right? But yo, we wanted to prove that we could go to white schools and excel also. Niggas American too. Like, you think... All right, Reggie, you go ahead, Reggie. Tell us how that ain't... Tell us how a nigga don't want the same thing as everybody else. Tell me how a nigga don't want... If the Porsche is the best car, why a black man wouldn't want that Porsche too? If the white man live in beautiful homes in Beverly Hills, why a black man wouldn't want the same type shit? Like, come on, man. Go ahead, Reggie.
Let me say this.
Let Magic Mike say.
Hold on. I want to make this point. So, first of all, the reason we would want that shit because we lost our lives fighting to protect this shit right here. So you ain't gonna tell me what I can have, what I can't have when I put my life in the line with the rest of y'all. That's fucking bananas. Now, if you just let me chill on the sideline and don't expect nothing of me, I can just sit back, then bet. But since I gotta participate, then goddamn it, let me participate in every goddamn thing. Go ahead, Magic Mike.
Hold on, Magic Mike. Yeah. It ain't like we was hold on. It ain't like we was trying to move in poor white communities, right? So it wasn't about the necessarily the white thing, yo. Like, a nigga wouldn't move from the poor black community to move into the poor white community. We wanted that middle class status. That's what we wanted. What? Come on, Reggie. That's just... Go ahead, Magic Mike.
Reggie. And no Saint want to make comment after Magic Mike. Go ahead.
Yeah. The story that Reggie's telling is kind of similar to a story that I've heard Dr. Claude Anderson talk about as far as aggregating our resources and understanding, that we had businesses, they may not have been up to par, but how we, he described it as them wanting to continue to build those up, and over time they would be on par. So his message was more in line with, hey, let's keep what we got, let's continue to build, let's continue to struggle. If we do, en masse assimilating to the larger culture, then we're going to lose our ability to continue to build. So there was some of that going on, but not maybe to the extent Reggie's describing it.
Yeah, I want to
add. No Saint, then Aiden jumped in, then Reggie.
No Saint.
Yeah. I just want to say that being that this is the Pseudo Killers channel, I just have to challenged. With all due respect, the guy who was saying that Japan attacked the United States halfway to do something to do with because we had second class citizens. There's nothing further from the truth. They were they were oppressing the Koreans and the Chinese. That was all due to an oil blockade and resources. Had nothing to do with that. So just to get
No,
that.
I just said it was propaganda, bro. I didn't say it was true. I said it was propaganda. And it
So the
was
Japanese
propaganda.
you said the Japanese
Yeah, they
used that as
used that as
propaganda?
propaganda. Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
to
did.
their population?
Right. They did.
Oh, okay. Maybe that could be
Yeah.
a fact.
Yeah.
I'd have to look into
Yeah,
that.
I'm not saying that they did it to win or some philanthropic point of
Okay,
view.
I got
No,
you.
but
I
they
got you.
used that. Yeah,
No,
in
I
there
got
just
you. I didn't realize you said that. You said it was propaganda towards their population, like
Yeah, we
like
ain't
we
hear all
do.
that. I ain't hear
yeah.
that. I just heard
So,
it just
Yeah,
now.
I thought it was
No, he
implied
said.
actually. I thought we all may have been familiar with it. I apologize.
So
Adrian, go
I'm
ahead.
familiar with
Adrian,
it. These
Adrian,
niggas slow.
Adrian, let Adrian get in real
but
quick, Reggie. Then you.
well, let me. The other thing I just wanted to say with what Chef, I understand exactly what Chef's saying. I always make the point, like, if I were to move into a different community, I'm not going to go the same level to go into a different community. I'm trying to move up, right? So, I totally get that. I would always make an example, like, if I want to move into, say, Beverly Hills, or, well, I'm trying to, well, I'll get to that point later, but I totally agree. I totally understand what he's saying about that.
Upward
You're not going to
mobility.
move there's no reason. In other words, there's no reason for someone from one community to want to live in a different cultural community unless it's a step up.
It's called upward mobility. Adrian, what's on your mind, bro?
I don't know. I would say that I guess I just came in, but it seems that brother Reggie brought up the argument that black people before desegregation, that we had our own businesses, and when desegregation happened, we kind of like lost stuff like the Negro Leagues and stuff, right? Is that
yeah, we lost our spark. White communities.
Whose fault was that, though, Reggie?
Let him
okay?
get it out, Ray. Let him get it out. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, but
I
Adrian was
would.
Asked me a question and I agreed.
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to see if that's what, because that's what sounded like everybody was talking about. So I just wanted a little refresh.
Yeah. So we learned
It's the whole show before that, though.
Go ahead, Reggie.
we learned. You got to understand. We learned. Black people was learning from other communities. You got to understand the Asians in the West worked the railroads, and what the Asians did in America, right, before World War II, was they were completely segregated, and they didn't really give a damn about white people. They created Chinatowns, and those Chinatowns throughout the nation worked with those Chinatowns. They completely avoided white folks unless white folks came to actually shop for their goods and services. The Irish were
not fair, bro.
The
Okay.
The Irish were not white people. They were not.
That's not fair, yo.
Right.
The Italians were not considered white.
Right.
The Polacks, they were not considered white.
Correct.
Right? So the white Anglo-Saxon in America, the true citizens, the ones that have all the land, they discriminated against other white people. Those white people segregated themselves until they were able to kind of blend in. Then world wars happened. So World War II was a turning point for Black people, because for the first time in a long time, we were able to arm ourselves. We hadn't armed ourselves since the Civil War. So Black soldiers came back from World War II with military strategies and went back to their communities and stood up. Then after World War II, there was the Korean War. Well, yeah. So there's the Korean War, and the Korean War is in the 50s, right? And then after that, it was the Vietnam War. Now, what happened in America, one of the things that happened.
You gotta stop, bro.
Yeah, you gotta
Yeah,
stop
that
that.
makes
Yeah,
sense.
Reggie, knock it off, Reggie.
That makes
Knock
sense.
it off.
Wait.
That makes sense because
It don't make no damn sense.
I get what he's saying.
Hold
Y'all
on,
don't
Adrian. Hold on. We gotta have
Wait, how come when I'm
conversation
talking,
in the flow?
how come I can't get it out?
You got it out. It was
All right,
5 minutes.
All right, you land the plane. Reggie.
No, because I'm giving you. I'm repairing the bullshit that y'all talked about because you don't know.
Right.
Okay, so
wasting
then
time.
what
You're wasting
happens
valuable
is
time.
we
went back to our communities armed. Get back to that point.
When the black soldiers came back from these wars, they became global. They had a new view that the world doesn't work like the segregated South says it works.
That was World War One when they came back with
World War II.
That was the World War One, the Red Summer. Oh man, go ahead. You didn't mess that up.
It happened in Vietnam too.
World War
That's another.
All right, y'all don't mess that up. But go ahead.
It happened in Vietnam as well.
We're talking about World War One versus World War Two.
No, World War II.
It happened in Vietnam as well.
All right, bro.
World War II, we had black. You understand? We have World War II. We had whole black troops, right? We had segregated armies in World War II. Black folks fought among black folks. Vietnam also was a very segregated war where black folks fought with largely black folks.
Yeah,
it was.
We're familiar with that. Yeah, I think we're
World War One.
World War One, yo, Red Summer. Keep
Red
going.
Summer, they came back with those ideologies and they had a whole bloody summer where black former soldiers came back and they took up arms. You know what I mean? Yeah, like so y'all it was World War One where they started all of that.
I'm not saying where they started. They started earlier.
What's the name of that movie though, yo, that came out about that? When they went and fought, they got though.
So
I like it. They got.
Wait a minute.
We had a global personality
strategy.
Then that aided what was happening when we ultimately had to come back to the stick.
I just want to keep chronology, man. That's all, bro.
Okay.
I think the point is.
Hold on.
The point is this. The point is this. Whether what Reggie's saying, whether or not they intended this movement of opening up commerce to us to destabilize our communities or not, whether that was their express or tenet or not, it did have that impact to a great extent across the country. So I think Reggie, if you're arguing that's the only reason or that's the main reason, you're probably going to lose, but it did have that impact.
I'm not going to lose.
I think it was a necessary evil.
I'm not going to lose it.
Underestimation. And you know what? Underestimation is a motherfucker. That's what they say. Y'all underestimate the sheer business acumen of fucking Americans in business. You underestimate that quality of studying, right? Finance and business and the market shares and the whole 9 yards. Like you couldn't ignore this shit. It was like a big ass goal just sitting there. You gotta make a choice. Do you keep up the foolery or do you open this motherfucker up? You gotta open it up. You can't do it. You can't. The man said in the video, the shit y'all saying is antiquated, is fucking outdated. Y'all have lost y'all mind. Somebody had to study that. That's not a person just throwing wild swings at the fucking wind. That's a person, that's a group of individuals, that's a lot of people studying the market, studying spending habits, the whole 9 yards. That's not an out of nowhere type of statement that man is making. That don't mean he like your motherfucking ass. But money talk and bullshit walk. But go ahead, Reggie.
Right, it was strictly the Negro as an untapped consumer base. That's essentially that the entire video was about. It's very similar if you ever hear, in terms of like when they speak about emerging markets, like emerging markets in Africa or underdeveloped countries. They speak about those economies in the same terms as if, within similar to that video. right? Untapped consumer bases, untapped markets. I think it had very little to do with uplifting the the living conditions of the economy. No, they wanted the money.
Right, and I think I agree. I understand what Reggie is saying, right, in terms of the impact that integration did have on certain Black businesses. That's well documented, right? Now we can argue.
Yeah, but whose fault was that though, Sosa? This question.
It's just nobody's fault. It's just the way things played out. They weren't able to compete. But the whole point of the matter is, like, we can debate over motive till we blue in the face. You know what I'm saying? But we can look at what happened. But like I think that it was a necessary evil. I think there was a jump that had to be made. I don't think we were able to sustain it at that level. We had to play the game on a higher level. Even if it meant the breaking up of this solely Black community, because we're not just looking to be Black. We're looking to be American.
Yeah.
Regardless of color. Black people were looking to be American. They wanted all the rights and all the privileges of being American, regardless of race.
Okay,
that was the goal.
That's some bullshit. That's some bullshit right there. The bulk of Black folks, the bulk of Black folks were not educated.
Why gotta be bullshit, Reggie?
Because what you're doing is you're rewriting history.
No, we're not.
I'm debating. Listen, I don't debate anymore. I don't debate.
Hold on, Reggie. Hey, Reggie.
Let Reggie go.
Guess what, Reggie?
Nah, man.
You're missing it. Hold on for a minute. Watch this, though, Reggie. I think what Sosa said was downright genius. And I clearly understand that we're the generation that's supposed to be moving forward with having strong business Black communities. Back then, they had to make that sacrifice, bro. Like anybody ever played fucking chess before? You don't take this shit in one fucking move. It's a long game, bro. And I'm saying we need to be at the point now. Now we got access to everything we fucking need. So what's the problem, Reggie? That's the point, Reggie. They had to do that for us to get right here and even have this conversation, Reggie. They had to do it, Reggie. You couldn't have been stuck.
I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you. I only disagree with the narrative that I heard about people explaining what we went through. So I have one of the greatest thinkers, that we've ever had.
Hold on, who was wrong? Who you disagree with?
Hold up, Sean.
I disagree with you.
That's what I'm saying.
Jeffrey, I disagree with you.
Okay, what did you disagree with? Because I read Martin Luther King.
We weren't trying to be American. We were not trying to be American.
I'm done with you.
The
you go sit
let Reggie.
Reggie.
No, we can't cut Reggie off.
Reggie can go and sit back on the back of the bus, yo.
You know what? Can I?
Go ahead, Reggie. Have fun on that back of that bus.
Hold on, let's have a conversation before we play some clips. We didn't even fit the clip. We didn't even fit the video.
Get Adrian up out of this motherfucker, man.
No, let him rock, man. We ain't even fit the video we was playing.
Go ahead, Reggie. Let Reggie finish.
Go ahead, Reggie.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to recommend.
No, Reggie, just tell us what you're saying.
No, because you know what? When Reggie says something,
you could be right, Reggie. You could be right.
Reggie's not truthful. So let me just give you access to a video. Right?
To a what? To a what? You gonna play a video?
Yeah, I'm gonna play part of it. Right. But let me just.
Who is that?
Don't play it too long.
The boys. You don't know who that is? Get your life together.
No, I can't see. I'm driving, nigga. I ain't trying to look at that. W.E.D. Boys? Is that
that's the boys? Yeah, that's the boys.
Nigga, I know who it is. Don't play with me. Play loud on.
Reggie about to put us to sleep with a 30-minute long video.
We ain't doing that, Reggie.
We ain't finished the video we was watching before.
Y'all be quiet for a second. I'm just gonna skip through it. I'm just trying to figure out. I'm gonna skip through it. Wait 1 second.
Are we to assume the ideas of Americans?
I can't really hear it.
Reggie, we can't hear that.
Low, bro. Just tell us the sentiment.
No. Okay. So wait. Hold up. Let me see if I can. Let me just see if I can.
Is this double consciousness?
Just tell us what he's trying to say, Reggie.
No, because y'all don't share sound. Okay, so let's see if you can hear it now. Listen to this. Listen to it. 1 second. Here it goes.
Even more difficult problems.
Wait, listen.
Of race and culture. Because we must now ask ourselves, when we become equal American citizens, what will be our aims and ideals? And what will we have to do with the selecting of these aims and ideals? Are we to assume that we will simply adopt the ideals of Americans and become what they are?
I don't know.
Just tell us. Just give us.
What the fuck did that nigga just say just now, yo?
Give us a.
I heard what he said. I can sum it up. I can sum it up.
I'm lost.
No, I'm not lost. I'm not lost. He was saying when we do become Americans, I mean,
Hey, who trading? What you trading, Doc? Was that the pound
yeah,
USD?
you got all your shit shown.
Oh,
See all
yeah.
your money, Reggie. We got you. Then the
You
whole
speaking
world
my
see all you
language now,
created.
Doc.
Yeah, okay,
Speaking my
Reggie.
language.
He's showing your whole shit. Reggie done fell off and left his bank account open.
No, that's
what the hell is going on, Reggie?
Unshare
Let
screen.
me hold something, Reggie. Let me hold
Unshare
something, Reggie.
screen, right?
Your
Stop sharing screen for a
GBP,
second.
USD. You sharing
It
your
looked
screen.
like he don't know what he doing. He looked like he
He's
need to
saying it.
focus on that more than he do
focus on that,
W.E.B. Du Bois.
Right.
Because that screen you share, it looked like you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, anti-American sentiments, but yeah, you trading. Yeah, right. We don't believe you no more, Reggie. Because you wouldn't be able to do none of that shit if you was back then. You was done.
All his stocks was
To
down.
argue over
But why,
motive.
Reggie,
To
why
argue
all
over
your
motive.
stocks was down?
Y'all some fools, man.
Reggie, why was all your
Hey,
stocks
Reggie.
down?
Let me ask Reggie a
Keep more
question.
American
Y'all
than
some
everybody on this
fools.
motherfucker, yo. You invest money in the stock market, nigga. You wow.
Hey, but
Y'all
all his
some
Great
stocks
American,
was
nigga.
down though.
Hell no.
You know the difference between me and you? I'm
not listening
geeky
to you.
looking.
Like say cool. You like say cool. Say
I'm
cool.
geeky looking,
Say cool.
but
Say
I
cool.
was
Talk
actually
shit. Hey Reggie, you like say cool, Reggie.
in
Yo,
the
you
Black
like say cool.
Revolutionary movement.
Yeah,
I was
whatever,
actually
yo. Black revolutionary with the stocks. You like say cool. He talk shit. Africa. He live in
No, I'm
Canada.
trying to
He live on the motherfucking ice, nigga.
Man, look, we know we didn't sit at the feet, Reggie. But goddamn,
Hey Kent, come on, Kent. Don't cut my. Hey Kent, watch this, Reggie. Say cool will argue you down. Two cradle theory, Africa for the Africans, the Africa. He was born in Ghana. He live in Canada on the ice. He live on the Laurentide ice sheet amongst more white people than you can imagine. Talking about save Africa, when really he should be in his community saving his community. Reggie, you invested in the stock market. You helped put precedence to this motherfucker. I don't want to hear that no more. You get money off of whatever they do.
No, I'm learning a skill.
I'm not listening to it.
Instead
I
of
can
working
no longer hear that
hourly,
message.
instead of working
That's the currency
hourly,
market.
Nope. I don't want to hear that.
instead of working hourly, I'm trying to I have good skill set, and so I don't want to. I
can't understand them back then, yo. So you cannot understand why they was trying to get the fuck up out of that situation, bro.
No,
see what I'm saying?
They wanted.
He disagrees with the motive. Not that he don't understand. He disagrees with the motive.
Let me ask you
How
this,
the Europeans.
Reggie. So the families in that video, those black, affluent-looking families in the videos, were they trying to become more American, or were they trying to dismiss the idea of integrating all together? Those families that we saw in the videos.
I didn't see. Unfortunately, you have to put the link in, and I can watch the video. But my guess is because I see when I came up, my family was dirt poor. We were from North Carolina and Virginia. We left to New York for jobs. We didn't give a damn about anything else but trying to survive and get the white man off of our back because he controlled everything. When the white farmer got paid, that's when we got paid. If the crop was bad, we worked all year and didn't get shit. And they treated us like shit. And so we moved to the we moved to New York. We moved from Brooklyn, from North Carolina and Virginia to Brooklyn, New York, and then from Brooklyn, New York, we moved other places. Right, my particular family. but the whole point of, yes, we wanted a better life. We was living in one fucking bedroom apartments with 5-6 people. We still, Brendan will tell you, people still live in shacks, what they call shotgun shacks, a door in the front and a door in the back, right? And 8, 9, 10 people live in that. And yes, they wanted a better life because
I know. What's your point, though, Reggie?
Yeah.
What's your point? Because you proving our point, though, Reggie. Wrap it up. You proving our point right now, Reggie.
Yeah. What are you trying to say, Reggie?
Yeah, what you saying? I mean,
What you and
know
W.E.B.
was a
Du Bois trying
sharecropper.
to say?
The sharecropper, yo.
Yeah, but
You're only 2 years older than me, Reggie. I don't know nothing about this shit you're saying, yo. You 2
Man, bro,
years
trying
older
to
than me.
hit
I'm
them.
like, is this nigga serious?
Why y'all disrespecting Reggie? Why you trying to hit them heartstrings, yo?
yeah, I learned from old men. I learned from Dr. Clark when I was 21. He was already 70, right? I learned from old men. Dr. James Small, when I met him, he was 39 years old. Could you believe that shit? Right? Dr. Jeffries was like 46, 47.
Oh, I don't care about none of them niggas.
What's the
Let's
point?
get back.
Yo, hold on. Let him run down the history.
Reggie. What's the point?
Let him run down the history, Chef. Come on,
You
y'all.
can pass it
Y'all
on.
ain't let. Y'all gotta let him run down the
Chef,
history, yo.
obviously, you don't care about any of that. But the fact of the matter is that we have to understand why other communities, the Mormons, the Italians, the Irish, the Jews, they became successful not being individual niggas. They became successful within their populations. I'll stop. You
Not fair, Reggie.
Man, they
Reggie,
hating
Y'all
on
got
everything,
Reggie cussing, yo.
Y'all motherfuckers know everything.
They
But
hating
you know
on.
what?
They
One thing is clear. On the pseudo channel, y'all
Here you go. Here go the slur.
y'all
Here go the
niggas
slur.
are king.
Here go the
On the
slur.
pseudo channels,
Here go the
take
slur.
us off the pseudo channel and take us in front of the larger population, right?
And you doing a joke.
And then let's debate.
I hear the slur. I hear the slur.
But see, Reggie,
Hold on. Don't hate. Nope. I don't want to hear the hate.
Why y'all hating on Reggie history, man?
We done the whole conversation.
Okay, so basically, we're not allowed to have a conversation based around a fucking video. We got to go off on this long ass tangent of different black people. That shit, tie that shit in there, nigga.
Different black people that Reggie know. Hold on.
Man, that nigga know if he knew Martin Luther King, he knew Martin Luther King, man. You gotta let him get his shit off, yo.
What he did was he always pit whatever we're talking about versus who he know and what you can't win an argument.
Hey, you gotta give respect to that.
Let him get it out, Ken. Let him get it out.
Nah, but hold on. Chef, you gotta give respect to a man that walked in the trenches with the real OGs of the civil rights movement. You gotta give respect to that.
Because the difference is, the difference is, Chef.
His group was in there shooting in the neighborhood. They ain't fucking with the civil rights. You ain't hear what he said, Kent? They went back to the community with guns.
Yeah. So listen, I happen to be a little older, and it's not
2 years
about
older, man. Stop it.
It's not about who the fuck I know, it's who the fuck taught me, right? It's really about that. And can I stand on my arguments with facts? I cover wide materials when I go on these channels. Wide materials. I ain't no Kemet nigga. I cover Black history. I wrote a book called The Black City Plan. You should read it.
Ready. What's the debate? Chef, I know Chef wanted to smoke. What do you want to debate, goddamn?
I don't really know what Chef is talking about.
You said you had disagreed with me.
Right.
And so since you disagreed with me about, what I was saying that, the movement that black people or the aspirations that black people had, you were saying that wasn't black people aspirations at that time. Like, and that's crazy. We didn't listen to Dr. Martin Luther King, right? He expressed the aspirations of blacks, right? Then we just watched the video of the United States Commerce Department that was expressing the aspirations of blacks, but you and Dr. Leonard Jeffries and whoever else, you know what I mean, and your Black Panther Party is saying something different. That black people didn't want the best things and didn't want what affluent white people had and didn't want those rights and didn't want the money and, you know what I mean, the comfortability, you know what I mean, that white upper echelon white society had. You think niggas just wanted to live in the ghetto? You know, I don't know what y'all, or buy fruit from a dude on a wagon, right? Versus going in the supermarket, right? Stay in a little storefront, goddamn school, and not go to an air-conditioned university. You think that? I don't know what you're talking about. I never been around black people who didn't want good
I can do the non-mean shit too. I grew up in a fucking project, so I can do all of that. But I can tell you this: I can tell you with this aspirations and what black folks was going through is two different fucking things. White people was fucking dangerous, so you might want those fucking things. You might want those fucking things, but white people was fucking dangerous. They was fucking dangerous. And so you driving around with a fancy car, you a fancy nigga, right? So those things, so having those things is what everybody would want. Everybody want the fucking Cinderella story, right?
Oh, man.
But the fucking reality is that you can only do it in the safety of groups and populations.
What?
Right?
This your homeboy. You gotta deal with this, Unc. I don't even know what he's saying.
I don't listen to It's about them perspectives, Joe. Reggie was living in a time where they was hanging niggas. You feel me? So
damn lie, man, 2 years older. Come on, man. You gotta stop there, yo.
Reggie was alive in the Jim Crow South.
Imagine, Mike, what you trying to say, bro?
So did they not want it, or did they just want to build it on their own, Reggie, in their own group?
They had aspirations. That was the drive. But we knew that we had to do it in groups. And so when Martin Luther King and the Montgomery bus riots and it wasn't a riot, but the boycott, we found our group power. And for America, that shit was dangerous because we weren't acting as individuals. And we found that, so after the Montgomery bus boycott, then we got black bus drivers, right? They had to share. So it was through group efforts that we got what we got. It wasn't through individuals, but there was the talent.
Nobody said. I think nobody said that though. Nobody said that's doing.
Yeah, come on, man. You gotta stop that.
We agree that. I mean, you can have group politics and be integrated. That doesn't mean you can't vote as a group block. We still do that, even though we're integrated.
Well, we got the first. When was the first black mayor, sir?
Marion Barry.
The damn quiz.
No.
I don't know. Bro.
You say Marion Barry.
Just tell me. I'm gonna take an F. I'm gonna take an F on the whole quiz. Just stop at that question right there. I'm a flunk. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna take an F on every question.
Marion Barry.
Yeah. I just made a point, bro. Like if you disagree with the point.
Go ahead, bro.
The first black man was Malcolm X lived and died. Malcolm X lived and died.
Talk your shit, Reggie. Go ahead,
Malcolm X lived and died without seeing one black mayor. First black mayor was in '67. It was called Stokes, right? And then that became the age of black votership, where we were able to vote in black politicians. When we were able to vote in black politicians.
What's the time period, Reggie?
Just tell me how you disagree with the statement I made, though. What do you
time period, Reggie?
What part of the statement that I made that you disagree with?
I
said that even though we're integrated,
man, hold on, you got confusing them. Man, why are you confusing them? So
I'm saying even though we were integrated, and even though we integrate into society, you can still vote as a group. It doesn't become individuality just because we're integrated. That's the point, though.
Okay.
Yeah, I just the reason I disagree is because we were still segregated in the big cities. So in Chicago, in New York, and Philadelphia, and the big cities that we came to in the North, we were still segregated. So we didn't find our power until we voted. So with
what year was that, Reggie? What year was that, bro?
Oh, 67. 1967. And then after that, we learned that we could win. Well, we could win mayorships. And
when did they win those? Hold on, Reggie. When did they win those battles in court, yo?
Oh, so those was in the period before the Pika.
The 50s.
No, when Martin Luther King then was marching. What's the time period?
The 50s.
68.
No, Martin Luther King was marching till he died, which is 68.
Yeah, 66.
The 50s.
Right, but we had some of the.
No,
is my mic on or something?
Sir? Yeah, what you say? Yeah, what you say?
I said the 50s.
Yeah, the 50s.
The civil rights legislation was start getting knocked down in the 50s.
It started getting knocked down. All right, and what time?
Y'all said no. I can't. He just said no. Like how? How you gonna know ancient Egyptian chronology and not even know civil rights chronology?
Now there's no need to.
That's
I'm gonna listen to you, right? So we had Brown versus the Board of Education.
When was that?
We had that in 54.
Okay,
right?
like I said, the 50s.
No. Wait. Hold on. That allowed for integrated schools.
Oh my God!
Okay.
Right?
That's
so what? So that allowed for some civil rights, but that didn't give us no fucking political power. That didn't give us no political power.
And then Thurgood Marshall and won some cases. Am I correct?
So when we got the Civil Rights Act, so you smart asses. When did we get the Civil Rights Act? Just Google
it. That's Thurgood Marshall and them. Come on, Reggie, just tell them.
Google it. So it was the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which allowed us to be in jobs and not be discriminated. Right?
Okay, Reggie.
So that was the case.
Reggie, stop. You just killed yourself there. So the civil rights movement, like you said, started in the 50s. It progressed forward. Martin and them moved it a hell of a way. Thurgood Marshall, of course, laws passed. But all of that culminated in allowing us to vote. Based off what you saying, we ain't want to do that. We wanted to chill. We wouldn't have made it even vote, bro. It was things we needed to do.
No, we could already vote.
We was always voting.
What are y'all talking? Oh my God, this is getting nuts.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying
you said voting.
I said we need to do everything. Come on, man. Don't pick my statements apart, nigga. I'm saying that we needed to, all this culminated and giving us the ability to do what we did, bro. You needed all of that, though. You need to vote. You need to be unsegregated. You needed all that shit.
No, but we was already voting. That's the thing.
No, I got you, but I'm saying
the Voters' Right Act just it did the restrict. It
gave you protection.
Yeah, it gave you protection and removed restrictions. Go ahead.
Yeah. So my point is, we need to be. We need to sit where we want to sit. We need to go. We need to go. We need to do all that shit. We need to be able to vote, right? We need protections at the fucking polls, right? People say all the time, "Well, the Voting Act let you vote." No, it's not that. It actually gives you protection, federal protection at the fucking polls, because you have a right to vote. Ain't got nothing to do with saying allowing you to vote. It's giving you protection. So people always fuck that up. So I'm saying, Reggie, all these things that you're fighting against actually allow you to do what you need to do, bro. Like, I'm just trying to feel, you shouldn't even be fighting us on this. Like, the fight ain't changed, bro. Like, we get that. But that's the way we had to play chess. So
no, I don't disagree with that. But the reason why I came in is just to give you some dates. All right. So the two important parts that gave us political power, so that we can have the jobs, high-paying jobs, right? and we could avoid discrimination was the Civil Rights Acts of '64, and then later the Voting Rights Act of 1965. When we had the voting right of 1965, that allowed us to use our political power and get Black mayors, Black city officials, right? So you're correct. It's the culmination of things. I'm just giving you the dates of the movement. The integrated school system. Yes, we wanted better education, but it also came with an ass beating, right? So we was just throwing our children to the wolves, right? And that just shows the strength of our endurance and our people. But we didn't have any political rights. Now, when we get to political rights, we get better political rights. Now we in 64 and 65. So the 50s was our beginning, but nothing significant happened until 64 and 65. And that was the period of the March on Washington. I mean, King and Malcolm X, and yeah. Okay, I'll stop. I'll stop.
Where, Adrian? Where you at?
Oh, I'm here. I think that this whole conversation is very brilliant, because if we all just literally take the time to study the civil rights movement, like even before, Dr. King, even during the World War I movements, even World War I, even Reconstruction, with even if we even go back further, AME Church, etc., you will find out that there has never been a African American one ideology that these African people believed at that one time. There was always a difference of tactics. Like, I'll give hold on for a second. Like, I'll give an example. I did a lecture like a couple weeks ago on Robert F. Williams. He's the godfather of the Black Panther Party. And he disagreed with Dr. King on the, nonviolent tactics. He believed that African Americans should, arm themselves against Ku Klux Klan terrorism. You have the Black Panther Party who gets help from, China and Russia. So I think this conversation shows that we are not a monolith, and the great civil rights leaders of before never really agreed with each other on something. So I think that we shouldn't necessarily say that these African Americans believed in this. No, there was a certain, group of Black people who believed in that, certain group of Black people who believed in this. So I think this is a brilliant conversation.
Yeah, and that's still true today.
Yeah. I like to. I agree with you. A lot of different ways to do it. I always felt like if you're in a hostile place, and America was definitely hostile for Black people, which you never should do. This will cause absolute doom to you. You should never side with your enemy's enemy. I'm gonna say it again. You should never side with your enemy's enemy. So if you feeling like Europeans was the enemy in North America, and based off just the treatment of Black people for long periods of time, you could duly consider them your enemy, at least an enemy against your family structure and how you wanted to live, right? And just fighting just to have your right, be a goddamn American. They would be an enemy against that. But the outright side with China and Russia while you living in this space was complete suicide. They're gonna wipe you out.
What are y'all even talking
You're
about?
not gonna be able to do that. You're just not gonna be able to do that.
And they don't care. And they don't give a damn about you anyway.
Yeah, that strategy,
China, Russia.
That strategy was crazy.
I don't even know what y'all talking about.
Yeah,
talking about communism.
Yeah,
Adrian mentioned different strategy.
Oh,
you gonna say get the hell out of here? All right. Well, we can see. We don't gotta get the hell out of here. We can see.
You're right. What I mean is, when I say get the hell out of there, I mean if you're stupid enough to side with foreign nationals against your own laws, then what happens is that you lose everything that you ever fought for. So you have to fight within the system. So the difference is that the difference is, and now we have the Nation of Islam who say that they separatists, and they ain't never gonna be no separatists. They got too many cell phones, too many cars, too many. They ain't separating from nothing, right? But they're gonna tell you to my face like Wesley Muhammad did, right? I mean that they're to separate the separatism. Well, I don't see in the last 30, 40 years that they did anything to separate anything. They got more cars, more personal property, more suits, right? But they say in their rhetoric separation, but they ain't doing nothing for separation. And those people who side with socialism and communism, that's literally a death sentence for our people, because ultimately those people who were socialists and communists, they are now capitalists. Russia's capitalist, China is capitalist. So
I just brought that up to show that
So Chef, you don't understand.
Hold
on, Chef, you don't understand, Chef. You confused.
Y'all niggas didn't confuse the hell out of me. We way off topic.
Stick around.
Yeah.
Come on, Chef, you smarted it up with, man. Yeah, you should know what I mean by that, man.
No, y'all didn't. I'm trying to figure out how we got here.
There's different strategies, though. I brought that up because you kept saying that we wanted to do this. They weren't the only. There's different strategies at work. That's what I'm saying. You had people who believe who
you just played the winner, yo.
China.
Yeah, you played Jordan.
You know what I'm saying?
When you read that letter, Martin Luther King was Jordan. What to say?
I'm trying to figure out how do we who are we listening to? Like if Leonard Jeffries and whoever else is right, then who the hell is Martin Luther King?
Dr. King wasn't the only. Dr. King.
No, they study.
Who's all these other jabronis that y'all keep mentioning? Like they actually did something. Like I'm lost.
Oh no! See, no. Okay, so let me help you out, Sheffrin.
Oh God.
So Sheffrin, just listen to me, Sheffrin.
You asked for it, Chef.
So let me help you out. No. There are people. There are professors. They're educators. And they have skill sets.
Nobody is quoting them. Nobody is quoting them.
So they study John Henry Clark. They actually study the movement and they participate in the movement. So Dr. Jeffries is not necessarily a contemporary of Dr. Martin Luther King, right? And so professors, what they do is they come back and they analyze these big movements. And so what the thing about it is, when you're in the fight, like in the civil rights movement, people was getting their head busted, their jaws broken, right? They was getting bitten. They're not the people that's analyzing. Those are the people that's just committed to social change. So then what happens is at some point, you get groups of people together who are supposed to come together and put together a plan. That, unfortunately, I agree with all of you, that no plan came from the people that were supposed to, who were studying. They became bourgeois themselves. All these college professors, they some bourgeois niggas, right? They all own houses. They all own houses.
As they should.
Huh?
Dr. Claude Anderson had a plan. I like Claude Anderson's plan.
Yeah, well, I'm
not listening to Claude Anderson.
And many of them live in neighborhoods. Like I mean, you love Francis Cress Wilson to death, but Francis Cress Wilson lived in the Jewish community.
Every time a nigga got a plan, I should come with a $600 program and a goddamn.
I don't disagree.
Y'all go ahead and listen to Claude Anderson. Yeah, I fuck with. You know what I mean? Y'all start listening to Claude Anderson.
He said he went out of business.
I will say, of the published plans, his was probably the best.
Who's
went out of business, though? He actually went out of business.
No, it's not.
Umar got a beautiful plan.
Oh my God.
Take
You
your
wrong.
money.
Polite got a hell of a plan he working
You
right now.
wrong.
Man.
Claude Anderson went to Detroit. He
Went out of business.
And you can watch him on YouTube now. He's still fucking around with fish, right?
Yeah, he ran out of business.
He thought that fish was our biggest industry. He's outdated. Our biggest industry actually is music and sports. He's fucking around with some fish. Right?
Now you niggas believe in Claude Anderson. Y'all sick.
Powernomics is I studied powernomics. I studied Amos Wilson's his plan.
Serious. That's serious.
No, it's not. It's not serious at all.
I like Paul Robeson's plan.
Black
I
Power.
like his plan.
Wait, let me get this straight, yo. What you just said?
Said it's not serious
You
at
gotta
all.
stop that shit, Reggie. You gotta stop.
Yeah,
that,
a lot of these
Reggie.
plans are not necessarily relevant today, but during the time they came out, they probably had more relevance at the time. And I think Claude is pretty good.
Amos Wilson, if you've ever heard Amos Wilson talk personally, and you looked at his work, most of that book,
Yeah,
Amos
he was
Wilson
stupid.
didn't write.
You gotta hear the guitar
He
personally.
was stupid.
God damn the Christ.
Tell him, Reggie.
His publisher wrote it. He didn't write. He didn't write.
He ain't write that stuff. Unc, that man was stupid, yo. I don't believe you fell for that.
Fell for what? Who?
Amos Wilson. Nonsense. Crazy. He ain't even write that stuff, man.
And I don't think that Amos Wilson wrote the majority. Certainly didn't.
Okay, y'all done went stupid now. Now y'all done jumped the rails. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna tap out the conversation.
Yeah, thank you, because you bringing up some yahoos that don't even
No,
make
we
no
was
sense.
Basis of wait. Let's go.
Reggie, and you back that shit,
I want to
Reggie,
ask you a
Reggie,
question.
you
I want to
never
ask you a
say nothing.
question.
No, Reggie, you can never say nothing. You don't mention Leonard Jeffries, none of them niggas no more to me. You're done. If you gonna throw Amos Wilson under the fucking bus,
I'm not throwing Amos Wilson. I'm saying that's not what I'm saying.
You amen, Chef. You did. We heard you.
No, I said that Amos Wilson. If you
Didn't write
ever
the
heard
book.
him talk, if you
Just
ever
dumb.
really
Man,
listen
the
to
bus.
him, that type of book that he wrote, he didn't write all of that book.
We know he didn't write because he died before it was finished.
That's correct, and that's all I said. I
Like
said
Moses died in the book of Exodus, so he couldn't have wrote all that.
right, and so what I'm
Fit
saying
religion.
is that Amos Wilson.
Right.
Amos Wilson, I'm a fan. Obviously, I'm a fan of Amos Wilson, right?
I can't tell. I just can't
right? But I don't think that book represents what Amos Wilson was talking about, because most of that book is about the federal government. It's not about local government. The majority of that book is about the federal government. I can't see
bring an Amos Wilson expert on here, Dr. Oyama.
You can bring her on. Come on and bring her on.
We're gonna talk about
next. We're gonna be talking about Garvey and
I would have posed a question.
Somebody said you shooting everybody.
I would have posed a question to everybody over here.
Hey, hold on, wait. Don't pose no question. Chef is shooting at everybody but Martin. Now Martin is the GOAT. I gotta give it to him. Chef just whacked everybody. Did y'all hear this man? Claude Anderson got to go.
He got to go.
I don't fuck with
the sister got to go. The sister got to go.
What sister?
Right? You know this. I ain't gonna say her name because I don't want y'all messing with
ISIS
her.
paper? Get up out
Get
of
ISIS paper.
Go with that shit, man. Go with that
put the file under that. Reggie joined y'all. I thought Reggie was gonna be again. He joined along with y'all in that. Oh man, I'm done. I'm just done with all of it. I'm done.
Yeah, I thought Claude would be a fan favorite.
Yeah, Claude fell out because he lost the fishery. He couldn't even run his own fishery. He called business and oh man, I'm done. Okay, all I know is
I didn't read that bullshit. The dollar circulates to the Jewish community X amount of time. Plus the circulate. That nigga made all that shit up, man. Got in with that crazy ass shit.
I think Claude Anderson. Claude Anderson had a lane, right? He had a lane with the Negro.
Nigga, y'all's crazy, yo.
He had a
Ladies and
lane.
gentlemen listening, I back all the elders. I'm not listening to these guys. They did what they could do. They did what they could do.
Anybody read my book? Anybody read my
Anderson?
book?
No.
Anybody read my book?
Is it on Amazon? I buy it.
Is it on Amazon, Reggie? It was on
No, it's
Amazon.
free.
It's free. Oh, we don't want that book. It was free. You know it's garbage.
No.
Oh my. What?
Do a show on it one day, Reggie. Do a show.
If you giving it away, it's trash. See, you should have sold it. I was gonna buy it. I didn't know you had the free book, Reggie. The Jehovah's Witnesses give away free books, Reggie.
It's a 223.
They give away Bibles.
It's called the BlackCityPlan.com. It's called the BlackCityPlan.com.
I think you should publish it, Reggie.
I'm still.
It's Cash App.
I'm still.
Yeah, it's Cash App, Reggie. Give out the Cash App, Reggie.
I'm still writing the book.
What?
Right?
Word?
Yeah, you know you gotta
30 years, Reggie.
I thought you was dead right there.
No, I wrote the book, but you gotta change with the times.
Sequence the genome.
A book can't be stagnant. A book can't be stagnant.
They're not sequence the genome since you started, Reggie, like that.
Oh, y'all, man, you're difficult.
Mummy DNA now. Hey, you talking about?
My book is theblackcityplan.com.
Yeah, you finish, ain't gonna be no Black City. We all be integrated, spread out around the
gentrification coming through. This is the first time, I've been back on the pseudo killers for a while. I've been in the back chat, right?
Why? What's the problem?
What is
with them on whacking people?
You'll drive my blood pressure up.
What's funny is that I knew that video was gonna set niggas off. Like niggas getting their feelings. We talking. We can't have no conversation. I disagree. You know what I'm saying? Because the black man. It's like God damn.
Right in there. I disagree. Reggie say
I put the voice on and y'all laugh me off.
Yeah,
I don't hear you.
What is your Black City plan accomplish, Reggie?
Paul Robeson's plan?
Who
Paul
said
Robeson was a communist. We ain't talking about him.
Who's the person who said that?
No, because
Huh?
No, I'm asking, what does your Black City plan accomplish?
Okay, so since you, who's talking?
Mike.
Okay,
Mike, I guarantee you don't want to hear this shit.
Magic Mike.
Pull it up on their ass, Reggie. Pull it up on their ass, Reggie. I know you guys on cue. Pull that shit up on them.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull it up.
You already had it pulled up.
No, here it goes. Right.
He already put it in. He already put it in the chat. While y'all was
already had it.
I'm gonna mess around and read that one day, Reggie. Don't make me read that, Reggie. I'm gonna read that.
Wait.
I ain't gonna read it till he put it in Metadata.
Yeah, another coincidence.
I'm gonna use the TLA to read it.
Here. Okay, look. Okay, so right here. All right. So Black City Plan is the path to power seizing city governments, right? So, what it is that I do revisions. The plan is fluid, right? So I already know that I have to continuously make changes based on things that actually happen. I began the book in 2017, right? Forget this. Okay. So, a new Black agenda, why control cities, case studies and analysis, the failure of Black cities, implementation, Pan-Africanism, appendix, and acknowledgement, right? So those are my sections. My basic premise is that cities control economics. Cities or the states get their tax dollars and their economics from cities. The federal government gets it from states, and so Black people have to understand where power is. Power derives from city. City is the part of civilizations, civil rights. City is the lowest part of government is a government that can make laws in the United States is cities and counties, right? And so controlling cities and cities talking to cities, Philadelphia, New York, Camden, Detroit. When cities can control their local economics, cities control housing, cities control land ownership, cities control laws, cities control commerce, right? And so these are not like Chinatowns, or this is not like Tulsa, Oklahoma, right? So I read like everybody else. I read Blueprint to Power, Black Power, and I read Claude Anderson's work, right? And I analyzed it, and I analyzed it, and then when I analyzed it, I understood that they didn't understand where the centers of power is. Then you analyze white cities, right? You have to understand how the Mormons rose to power, right? You look at case studies. So that's my book, generally. That's just my book where I use what I learned from Black Studies from the beginning of Booker T. Washington on, right? If you can, understanding how they understood power, and then I analyze white economists.
This
right?
Sosa fault.
Huh?
This is Sosa fault.
It was Magic Mike. I ain't asked what the
No, Sosa made me stop the video for
commentary. Commentary, man. Like I didn't know the shit would go like this.
Finish the video, right? We good. Get back.
Nah, I'm not going back there. I don't even know where the fuck we at, man.
We don't went too
far. We done lost the whole. We done lost the show. We lost it.
We lost the show. We lost it. We went off into the Black Panther.
We had to go back there. We ain't get to the psychology part. We ain't get to the psychology part about, you know what I mean, on the other side of the argument.
That's the part too. Yeah, we
probably go back to that.
I'm sorry, we armed our neighborhoods from work. They let niggas take guns from the war and bring them in their neighborhood. Is that what he said? What happened with that? That what you saying, Reggie? They ain't make you check your shit into the armory, yo?
Oh my God.
That's how it usually works. You can't.
No, that it's not. It's just no. You can buy a local. You can. Black folks, you gotta understand.
The army, right?
No. I didn't say that they was bringing back arms from the war. They brought back war strategies. They learned how to fight in groups, and they fought in groups, right? And they was able to buy local militia rifles and shotguns and pistols, and now actually know how to actually use them in groups, right? To defend themselves. That's what I said.
They was already shooting people in the roaring 20s, yo. You had gangsters. You know how to shoot. Everybody know how to use a gun, yo.
Them niggas wasn't efficient.
Jesus Christ.
Niggas ain't efficient now. Shit.
Yeah, but they know how to shoot a gun, though. Gangsters ain't efficient.
Close range, 9 times.
When you went to the military and you came home, you knew how to fight in a corps. You knew that. You learned those strategies. You know that you can't go out there.
Wait, you a Marine?
Yeah, ex-Marine, nigga. Ex-Marine, nigga. Get it right.
Once a Marine, always a Marine.
Once a Marine, always a Marine.
I tell you what, though, that motherfucking boot camp was real.
That's right. Respect.
So niggas couldn't have. So I understand most niggas weren't gonna make that one. That was some different. That was different. That was the mind game, the ultimate mind game. And to be watch this one, all that white person, black person shit didn't even fly in that motherfucker. Now, once you got out
not at all.
The FMF fleet, then it was, you went back to your fucking corners. But in the motherfucking boot camp, nigga, shit, nigga, if you in that hole, you thirsty, nigga, we sharing our water, nigga.
Yep. That's the first time I ever drunk after a white person was when I was in the basic training in the army. And it's straight up because the nigga thirsty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
All that. Yeah, all
that was real though.
Yeah, we ain't playing none of that, but none of them games.
Yeah, but once you get to your duty station, it's different. It's
then they go back.
Yeah, welcome back.
Yep. Welcome back.
We had that dark green and light green and all that
dark
shit.
Green, yeah, dark green, light green, simple.
Yep.
You know that's funny right there, right? Because white people think that they're the only ones that have prejudices about drinking and eating behind different ethnic groups. They don't realize that everybody is like that. right? But simple and plain, like, you know, we all believe crazy things about each other, right? You know, is if you ever had like you know, white teachers or whatever, if they made something and brought it to school, we wouldn't want to eat that as black kids. You know what I mean?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Unless it's something basic.
I think it's interesting too, going back to that other point, because your environment that you're in and the law, someone mentioned the law earlier, allowed the freedom to, you know, for them to be racist. Whereas in basic training, I know when I was at Fort Sill, Oklahoma, there was none of that. So the laws, the rules, the guidelines, did not allow it. So even if that's how you were, it was disallowed. Whereas in the 50s, 60s, 20s, 30s, the law allowed them to be that way openly and expressively. It's very interesting.
I mean, and it's not just the law. I mean, we got to think about the time that it came from. You know what I mean? They wouldn't like automatically start being civil towards us, considering, you know, early 1900s. You know, we're just coming out of slavery. You know what I'm saying? The only exposure that they had to us was vaudeville and the Coons in the Chitlin Circuit. You know what I'm saying? That was the only exposure they had to us for the majority of white people. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, but when I was in the Army, like straight up, when you're in training, it's all good. But when you get out of training, you see it. It's right back.
You in the
Come right
Army
back
too,
home.
huh?
Yes, sir.
Army
Big
too,
up. Yeah, this will defend it. Big up, Virginia.
Y'all went second class, huh?
Nah, that's not, the Army the real deal. The Marines ain't nothing but a piece of the Navy.
Stop it.
That's
Stop
all it is.
it.
That's all it is.
We all know
Marine Corps ain't nothing but the piece of the Navy.
Tell the truth, bro.
No, I do. I do. I am telling the truth. I am telling the truth. Like everything, Marines are just get caught up in the ceremony. Y'all got a prettier uniform.
Keep it
Y'all
real.
got a prettier uniform. That's it.
Y'all can walk on base. Listen, you can walk off.
Now I'm talking about the green one, not that ugly ass blue one. I like that green uniform.
Listen, y'all can literally leave the base and walk in town in Camrys. You can't do it in the Marine Corps. There's rules and regulations.
You said what? Can do what?
Meaning you can't have on your Camrys. Leave base with them fucking Camrys on. You better not get caught out in town with Camrys.
It's a smaller unit. It's a smaller thing. The Marines are just a piece of the Navy. I mean, the Marines are a much smaller group. It's a much smaller group. It's different. The Marines are technically the Army for the Navy. That's what the Marines are. I mean, that's what they're designed to be. Amphibious attack. That's what they're supposed to be. They work on
he right.
That's how the Marines form. That's what
how
they
y'all
are.
gonna how the hell y'all gonna tell me what the Marines
Then you might need to go read your manual again, because we can lock this up. He right.
The Marines were made.
Force up,
Hey, Adrian, why are you trying to tell me, nigga? I was in the shit.
Tell him,
the Marines.
I was
the Marines was made
y'all niggas is still trying to
fight
talk.
against
How
the
you gonna tell
Barbary
what they is,
pirates.
nigga?
Tell
what
that
is you talking about, nigga?
The Marines was made to fight against the Barbary
Adrian, were you a
pirates.
fucking Marine, nigga? Do you know the history of Marine Corps, nigga? We know about all that.
The Marines was made to fight against the Barbary pirates.
That man wanted to smoke.
Think how arrogant you are, though, right now.
The Marines was made to fight against the Barbary pirates.
My
professor is a Marine. Also, he told me this story.
Nigga, I ain't gonna argue with you. Because now you sound crazy as fuck.
Look at that.
Let's source it up.
I don't got a source. I know the history. You had to learn to get out of boot camp.
What's the history then, Because Adrian whipping you right now.
From the halls of, no, they not. Y'all niggas whipping yourself.
The shores of Tripoli. The shores of
that's from the from the halls of Mount Zuma, nigga, and the shores of fucking Tripoli, nigga. The whole 9 yards. But the point I'm saying is the reason the Marine Corps is a department of the fucking Navy because nigga, we the first to hit that fucking beach.
I mean, that's the idea, but that's not
nigga.
true.
Nah, can I finish though, nigga? Don't let you talk about the Army, the second place. Let you talk second place. Well, let me talk about the first place. First place, nigga, we hit that beach first. That's what we doing. And we going and them niggas you seen getting shot up and jumping up Normandy, man, them niggas was hitting that. Who was hitting that beach first?
That was the Army. That was not the Marines. That was the Army.
Yeah, that was the Army.
The largest amphibious attack in the history of the world was the Army. That was not the Marines. That's the Army.
Right, we got out of that part.
Y'all did it in what? Eagle Geechee.
No. We was fighting.
No, y'all did. I respect it. I respect
we was fighting against the Japanese. Hold on, we was fighting against the Japanese.
Iwo Jima.
Right. Right. So I'm saying that was wow. Hold on. So most people don't know they fought 2 wars, right? They fought in Normandy in Germany, and they fought in the Pacific.
Yeah,
the Marines
the Army
fought
did the
in
European,
Iqalau and all that shit.
And the Marines did the Asian. Yeah, that's true.
Right,
No, big up. I big up the Marine Corps. I don't play that second place shit though. You know what I'm saying? Y'all service function and we
Go Army.
Go Army, beat Navy.
Go Army. Good night, fellas.
Yeah. Straight up. I'm gonna sit here and say I'm second, girl. You right. Hell no, nigga.
Yo, y'all jumped off and
I don't care what they told y'all.
In my opinion, the difference between the Marines and the Army is that
I can tell you the
Marines
difference.
is more specialized.
Listen. Hey, Reggie, the difference is in boot camp. Ask that man how long he go to boot camp. Mr. Army, how long was y'all boot camp now?
12 weeks.
How long?
It's 10 weeks. It's 12 weeks when you count processing. Theirs ain't number 13. The only thing they do different is goddamn water training. That's it, bro.
Hold on.
I mean, I was in the Marines too.
Hold on. So you was in the Marines first or the Army?
Yeah, I got put out. I was in the Marines first. I got put out the Marines.
So when you went, so when you went in the Army, you didn't have to go in Army boot camp, did you?
Yeah.
I think you have to go to a scaled down boot camp if you go to on your second one.
Nobody's right. You don't even, matter of fact, if you went through Marine Corps boot camp, you can get in all the rest of the services and don't gotta go through their boot camp.
Yeah, you might have to go through like the 2 weeks of wait things or whatever.
Right. See, that's the rubber meet the road. But if you're in the Army, you got to go through Marine Corps boot camp. If you're in the Navy, you got to go through Marine Corps boot camp. So don't talk me to death. I rest my case.
Right. Hey, peace and blessings, man, to the school killers. Can I say something real quick? Peace and blessings to the school killers.
If you ain't back in the Marine Corps, I ain't listening to you.
Hey, can you hear me?
Brother Jacob 7,000.
Yeah, man. Peace and blessings to my pseudo killers family. And you know, I ain't been on here about a month or two. I love this platform here. But I've been trying to catch up with my brother Uncle West, man, because I had a couple of questions for him, man. You ignored my message, Unc. I know me and you we talk, you know, here and there. Did you see my message?
You're gonna get put off the show if you start that.
Oh, man, come on, man. Hey, bro, look, I got a question for you. Are you still an Egyptian?
What? Oh man,
Chef,
that's how you doing, yo.
Hey,
wow.
I did a video with DNA. Hold on, his DNA said Magi, Ethiopian, Egyptian. Come on now. So did you? Is that true or what?
I don't know what the hell you talking about. Of course it's a fucking lie. Yo, that sounds crazy.
Hey, Chief X on your neck, man. I sent you the video.
You brought that nigga name up? Let me get you off. Let me kick you off here, yo.
No, I ain't never kicked you off my platform. Don't kick me.
I know, but I know, but you brought the bitch ass nigga name up.
Got some explaining to do.
Now you brought the bitch ass nigga name up. You brought the bitch ass nigga name up.
Got some explaining to do.
No, I don't, nigga. Yeah, all right. Lucky. Okay. Let me see.
You ain't gonna answer that.
Where you at? Listen, you come on here to be wild. See? You lucky.
All I do is ask a question.
Where you at?
I love you, brother. You know I love you. My brother.
Man, where's the control? I'm trying to kick you off this motherfucker. Hey, Chef, you need control. Let me kick him off.
Hold on. Now, I have said some crazy stuff in the past, and it came back to bite me. You know, it happens.
Yeah, yo, but you run around in the sacred costume in the Hebrews. I don't do none of that. I ain't never said I'm no damn Egyptian. I've never said that. I've never said I was a fucking Egyptian.
Oh, maybe
I never said African Americans was Egyptians, dog.
But
that ain't even my story.
Video, brother.
No, nigga, maybe that's lying ass bitch ass Chief X to think he make all the conversations. He ain't got no show that he making a show off of shit we be saying. Lord knows don't let me say it. He gonna make a show about it. Without me, he can't. I don't watch that nigga. You had to tell me about that.
What was said?
It was something stupid.
Something about Unc took a DNA test, and his DNA came back and said he was Magi, Ethiopian.
Oh wow.
Right, you know, got that. They was in Magi.
An Egyptian.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. All right, nigga, I'm gonna let you have that one.
All right, bro. I ain't gonna mess with you then, man.
Yeah, I ain't mad. You got that one over.
You know, you my brother. You my brother.
I know.
I love everybody on the panel, even Reggie. Even Reggie.
Shot you.
I ain't got no hate
shot you early.
But
just
yeah,
wanted to get that one
man.
off.
If you don't want to talk about it, it's okay. Just
Talk
say you
about
made a
what, nigga?
mistake.
Talk about what, yo?
You want to play a video?
What? Why would I play that bitch ass nigga video and give him some shine away?
See, I didn't know you and him had beef. Hey, I didn't know you and him had beef like that. I wouldn't even brought.
Oh, you don't see? Go check that nigga page. Nigga got about 30 videos of me. Nigga, we don't got beef.
He doing too much, man. So yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know
Man,
it was
I don't do
personal.
that. Nigga's business. How about that?
But that's all I wanted.
Without me, that nigga don't got shit.
I couldn't catch up with you on the phone, so I said, "Hell, he on the show, so let me holler at him." But it's all
crazy. I don't want to hear about them. Come on, that nigga don't even exist in my world until you bring him up. Somebody gotta bring him up.
Well, one more time. That came out of your mouth though in the video.
No, it didn't.
It did.
Magi. You a damn lie, nigga.
You ain't watch it,
Yes, I told you.
Damn lie.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't watch the whole shit.
Pull it up right now.
And this is breeding again. It shows that we all have different thought processes. We got a Hebrew Israelite. We got everybody in
No,
here.
he definitely.
I'm a pseudo killer. I'm a Hebrew pseudo killer. You know what I'm saying? I'm part of the pseudo killer family. You see?
Yes, sir.
So it's like a melting pot, man. I can get along with anybody from different.
I just figured that everybody thought they was goddamn connected Egyptian back in the day.
Well, you know what? Back then we did.
I don't see why. You know what I'm saying? And niggas was fucking with that shit if they thought the niggas looked like the niggas over there.
We was saying we was Egyptians. We run around with the little African medallions and all that type of stuff. So maybe that's
on some shit.
Once we got a little,
wiser. That ain't no knock on nobody. We all thought we was something that we wasn't at one point in time. You feel me?
Right.
Like that's
that's
the progression of knowledge. You dig what I'm saying? Like,
and DNA tests are tricky as well, right? When you look at the EM95, right, that goes back to East Africa, right? You have to look at timelines and what are, say, the parent groups and all that. So it gets tricky. So yeah.
I heard a lot of people. I think even Wuja was like
he was related to King Tut or Ramses.
Ramses, exactly.
Yeah,
the whole Ramses.
Yeah,
exactly. Right. So
just throw that out there real quick. Yeah.
Right. It was the whole marketing campaign to to push DNA tests and that. Yeah.
Hey, CK.
Okay, I didn't mean to change the subject, man. Y'all can get back on.
Hold on, CK. Why is you in the chat? And why you ain't responded to me in over a week? That is crazy. I've been hitting you up personally, and I didn't message you on every platform possible right after you make a comment. And so it's like I'm chasing you around.
I see it too.
Yeah, she crazy, yo.
It's on purpose.
She'll
say
crazy
something.
As
She can't come
hell.
through and post a little fashion videos and shit, and they be out.
Yeah, boy, she got the fashion shit going, boy.
We don't know. She could be working.
Man, if she got time enough to post on social media, she should have time to respond to me. The hell? I'm just saying.
It's been 2 days.
AJJ 7,000. My house is asleep. You lucky, yo. I'd have went straight bananas. That's why I'm sitting back real quiet. The whole DNA, the whole fake video. I gotta calm down because my house is asleep right now, yo. But I'll get back tomorrow. I'll get you back early. I'll get you. I ain't talking about him. I'm talking about you. I'll get you back.
Oh, now you mad at me? What you mad at me for? I just asked the question, brother. Why you mad at me?
Because you brought this shit up. You kill the messenger where I'm from. We kill the messenger.
Come on, man. I tried to reach out to you privately. And any other time you answer my call. You see?
You put the ridiculous video in there or something. I'm like, yo, I don't want to see that shit. Fuck, I want to see that. I don't even watch that shit. Yeah, because I know it's misconstrued. It's taken out of context. It's all above.
Maybe that's what he did. Maybe he chopped it up. I'm gonna go back and see if he chopped it up.
Of course he did. What else would he do? He ain't got nothing else left on him but that.
It's all good, huh?
All right. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Hey,
don't get
y'all.
upset. He said his family sleep.
Right, I can't yell right now. I'm right here. I ain't upset. I gets it all the way in, but not now. Not this time of night. Right. Everybody back to school now. I got chill. You got me.
And I believe that DNA results are a very personal thing as well, right? When someone wants to share something about it, you know, that's okay. But when they don't want to share something about it, you got to leave it alone, right?
But I don't mind sharing my DNA. I don't mind sharing my DNA. I understand it completely. I don't mind sharing my shit.
So if
brother Sophie, have you ever heard of a DNA test and say you magi?
What?
Yeah, you made that up. I ain't say you ain't even say that, nigga.
In the video, you did say that,
Whatever, I ain't say that.
No, listen to me. In the video that he's talking about, you actually said that.
I see. Based off of what?
Now, I don't know if he doctored the video.
No. Based off of what? What came in front of that? What was I talking about? Did
Your
you just
DNA.
get a clip of me? Well, what was the clip though? Did you play the whole video to know what I actually said? Come on, yo.
No, I'm saying, listen, we're saying in that video clip, you saying that you took your DNA and when it came back, it said magi.
And I showed that?
No, you was talking.
What? Man, come on, man.
All right.
Come on, man.
No, I'm just saying he ain't lying. If it was
doctored, if you play a clip or something,
I was shocked.
If I'm talking about beating the brakes off somebody, right? And then you play a clip, not mentioning the beat the brake, and you catch me at a spot, you can just say whatever you want to say about it. But you got to get the whole context of what I was trying to say. What was I saying? What was I talking about?
You was talking about it was about the debate. It was about the Kemet on trial debate, I think. And it was you was talking about a piece that you want. What?
I said, don't make me pull up the goddamn.
No, you was talking to Smash. Y'all was at Sinetta's, right? And I think y'all was talking about you was talking about the piece that you wanted to present at the Kemet on trial debate or whatever. And you was like your DNA test had came back. And you
what is that?
Right.
Yeah, and you was like, yo, I wish I could have presented that. He's like, because when it came, you know what I mean? He was like, my DNA said magi. You know what I mean? And, you know, you went into explaining it and, you know, and you and Smash start talking about it. So that's what it was about.
See, Sosa seen it, but he just didn't want to say nothing.
Nah, niggas gonna say what they want to say.
Nah,
you know who's saying
CK, you didn't respond to me. Your line is.
I ain't want to sugarcoat, but
you didn't want to hurt your feelings. See, like,
I don't really sugarcoat, but
now he mad at JJ. Me better than this.
Hey JJ, I stands on mine, bro. So let me go get my DNA test. It just won't happen tonight, right? And I got the DNA test to change over time as more results come. So I got mine. I stands on mine, nigga. I don't run from nothing, nigga. And I don't do no lying. And there's one thing niggas know. So I'm going to bring that up. What I'm going to do. I'm going to get all y'all niggas out the way to think differently. Y'all know that nigga's a bitch ass nigga. And he's a straight liar. So I'm going to stay winning. Gotcha. All day, every day. This is easy for me. Trust me with that. Hold on.
CK, you lying. You didn't respond to me.
Oh, shit.
Jeffrey, there's no need to.
Yo, I've been chasing her around for 2 weeks, yo.
Hey, this ain't, you can't bust CK out on the public platform, man. It just don't look right, man.
She's family, bro. Just stay out of it. Stay out of family business.
Her ass ain't responding. Everybody in here, she said called her.
Yeah,
I told everybody she was in the hospital.
It's been 2 years, CK. You bugging. Oh, that wasn't real. She was in the hospital, Chef?
No, she wasn't in the hospital. Oh, man. And look, if she wouldn't even respond to that, she ain't.
I thought that shit was real. I'm like, damn.
Jeff was like, CK's in the hospital. What's wrong? Has anybody talked to her?
And then somebody responded like, nah, she ain't in the hospital. She all right. She'll be soon or some shit like that. Somebody said, y'all had me fucked up with that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I done chased her around every guy. I've been on MBK Discord. She been on there posting. I come right on there under CK, and she won't even respond. But she gonna come in here. I've been working. That's some.
Yeah. She be busy too. She be getting it into them damn servers. She be putting work in. Every time I go look in the little comments, CK in there, different chat rooms and shit.
CK got a problem, yo. I'm gonna let you live this week, CK. But I need help uploading books onto the server. That's the only thing I wanted. I ain't want to mess with your relationship. I don't want your boyfriend to think that I'm trying, you know what I mean, knock the dust off. That I ain't doing none of that. I just want to help getting the goddamn
knock the dust off
the server.
I know she dusty, yo. You terrible for that, yo.
No, that's just a figure of speech. You know what I mean?
Oh, yo.
But yeah, CK, you crazy for that.
Yeah, we doing a good little job of getting some flow to the server though.
But now we need some books in that motherfucker, CK. We ain't got nothing in there.
Upload books.
Hey, yo, heard the truth on that little that shit, the little politic radio show that got that Discord service. Yo, them niggas is locked, stepped together.
Yo, her and truth.
Like they feed off each other.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
too much energy. Too much energy.
They feed off this. Like they agree with all points. Like, yep. And then that's why, like, you know, shit.
Too much energy. I can't deal with them, yo. They hyper as shit.
Hey, Truth Ministry.
Straight pseudo. They went straight pseudo.
It is powerful.
That was a good.
Straight Mikey.
That was interesting.
They Mike. They went straight Mikey. You all know Mike, right? Conspiracy Mike.
Oh yeah, Conspiracy Mike.
Yeah, yo, we bring Mike on, yo. He gonna lighten up, yo.
Oh, you talking about your partner, Mike? Oh yeah.
We boy won't stop, yo. Right now we supposed to be mutated because of the vaccine. Everybody. He got the geopolitical using buzzwords. So whenever CK and using words, I'm like, oh man. Oh wow.
Oh yeah, Mike was a funny dude. Unbiased, what's up, Unbiased? We got some pseudos in the building. Reggie still on the panel. Reggie, is creeping over.
Piece your dig.
Reggie is creeping over to the pseudo side.
No, Chef.
Yes.
No, Chef. Man,
Chef
creeping. That nigga drove over.
Yeah, he dove over that motherfucker.
Other Reggie's not pseudo. We just have. We ain't got your boy tonight. We ain't got your boy Corey Gunn.
Don't nobody want to be pseudo, boy.
Yeah,
nobody want to be
Reggie,
pseudo.
you need to shape up, Reggie. You need to shape up because you done dove over that. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
What are you talking about, Chef?
You just came on to disagree with me when I'm talking about the real shit, and you start talking about Leonard Jeffries and them. Like that shit messed me up. Like I just don't know where they do that at.
I just told you about my education. What's the matter with Professor Leonard Jeffries?
Yeah, they ain't no civil rights leaders, yo. They ain't put in that type of pain for you to be mentioning them when I'm talking about Dr. Martin Luther King. We just don't do stuff like that where I'm from.
I agree with Dr. Martin Luther King. I didn't say nothing. I just try to contextualize the war, the civil rights movement, civil rights cases. I thought I did a good job.
Nah, you messed that up.
about the rural South.
Yeah, you start talking about you grew up on a farm and you know what I mean? You used to have to buy tomatoes off of a wagon. You know what I mean? Like that, you just went crazy, yo.
Yeah, I'm thinking like, is the people okay? Right. Like, I don't know, like how that work out. You know what I'm saying?
Like, you was picking cotton and all that, man.
Cotton picking, nigga.
You bought meat from the black folks.
Great grandmother died before
you
she
brought
had
fruits
no
on horse and buggies. We gotta
get collard greens and porgies. What's the matter with that?
You did what?
Collard greens and what?
Salt pork, right? And look, my mother and my grandfather ate muskrat. I ate rabbits. I mean that's just part of my all of that's my tradition. Porgies, that's who I am as a real Black American born in the South.
Country bumpkin. What is that? Basically, was a country bumpkin.
Porgies and spotfish.
You have a square dance before?
Huh?
You have a square dance?
No, I didn't square dance. That wasn't that wasn't my generation. As a matter of fact,
Corey said where Corey at? When Corey told me the other day, yo used to square dance. That messed me up.
When our parents danced, we sat down. We ain't going to dance floor. We just sat down and behaved ourselves.
I think Brenda said he square danced too, didn't he?
Right. Yeah. They again, right, in elementary school, they had us doing a lot of stuff, right? You would do like a square dance. I remember doing that, right?
Oh yeah,
have you ever done a ballroom dance, Chef?
I never did a square
in Baltimore. See, you guys, your school systems are sort of weird up there, right?
Ballroom dancing was a real big thing for generation. That's how they communicated. Right?
Ballroom dancing
for the black bourgeoisie.
The Audubon Ballroom, the Audubon Ballroom, and the place that we go for debates, the Alejandro. All of those were ballrooms for ball dancing.
That scene Spike Lee, that was beautiful when they showed them dancing like that. I'm like, man.
Yeah.
So y'all must have had white teachers if they made y'all square dance. That's crazy, man.
I had all white female teachers.
In the South, yeah, white teachers.
Oh, that's just culture. You just learn in school. You learn more than what's in the book. You actually involve yourself in culture. You in agriculture, you learn how to grow corn and grow things.
I don't know that in agriculture class. I ain't tripping. I don't know. Like y'all niggas had farms and shit. Like
that nigga went to Tuskegee.
The hell? Like you done lost with that.
Yo went to Tuskegee.
Like, shit.
But Chef, we certainly need to do a part 2 for the video.
Definitely, man.
Of the selling of the Negro, or the secrets of selling the Negro. Right, because I'm doing a little bit of reading on the side here when you guys were showing this, right? I guess this was published, it's about the Johnson Publishing Company, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who are the owners of like Jet Magazine, Ebony Magazine, and one of their focuses for this whole piece was to get business owners to buy advertisements, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, to actually advertise inside of these, what you would say, African American media circuits, right? So it was, and you can kind of tell, right? There was some somewhat harsh marketing sort of imagery or during inside of the video, like for instance, like when it shows the clothing, right? The clothing was very pristine, right? That the people were in, the houses were very, very nice, right? Everything was perfect, right? So that's what it gives me, that harsh marketing sort of thing. That's why I was like, okay, well, like it's like a focus on marketing to the Negro as a business segment or as a commercial segment.
Successful Negro, the elite Negro.
Yeah.
And so
but again, even in the imagery that was used inside of the video, not that it was something that was mirroring reality, right? It was something that was tailored towards the the advertisers, the sellers, right? People who were, selling these things, right? The garment sellers, the homes sellers, right? Saying, okay, well, yeah, this sort of makes sense. Yeah, this I will, consider the Negro population as a market center, right? So
I think I've seen that video. But Brendan, did you get my my message, my email on that speech that I put it in your chat, and I emailed you. It's Du Bois's read that. I think that you would appreciate that.
Okay.
Because see, Du Bois was part of all of that. He was one of the talented 10. And he left that. And his speech that I just sent you is his departure from that. He broke away from that whole movement of the elite. And if you read that speech, you'll see how Du Bois changed, and he asked some really important questions. And maybe one day we'll actually go over that, and then it would speak to a lot of the things that I was trying to say. But the speech, the speech,
you echoing a little bit.
Yeah, somebody's mic is open. But the speech.
Oh, you must have started lying.
Say what?
We got an automatic echo in here. When a person starts lying, they start echoing, echo.
What?
Oh man, one thing is Unc is my best friend. I ain't gonna lie. Unc, no matter what, he got jokes and shit. But I'm gonna tell you, Unc is one of my best goddamn friends, boy.
But I did have a question for Unc. Because Unc and Brother Mike, they mentioned something that I think that was very interesting when you talked about they were this was either in their what do you call it, the boot camp, or they were in Foxhole, and they said basically all of what you would consider these racist sort of things would go out of the window when they're no longer expedient. Right? In a foxhole, or in a situation where a mission had to get done, something that basically transcended that, right? That it was no longer advantageous, right, to be racist, right, or to be prejudiced at that point, right? So that it begs the question for me, because I think that the name of the show was like, what could you do about racism? What can we do about racism? And when you guys were sort of explaining that, right? In my mind, right, what I was thinking, I was like, okay, well, you make it no longer expedient to be racist. You make it no longer advantageous to be racist, right? Just as your experience in the foxhole, or your experience in the boot camp situation, right, where it was no longer expedient to be that way, right? We should have levers in society, right, to do the same thing.
That speaks to the psychology about us versus them, and who we consider the us. So when they go into the Marines, the us is not black, white. The us is the Marines. So when you change the dynamic of who is the us, it's no different than like I said, between if I put a Cowboys hat on and somebody put a Baltimore Ravens hat on, the us dynamic changes, because it would differentiate itself along the lines of who's a Cowboy fan and who's a Raven fan. Now, that's who we are. Outside of race. So when you get into Marines now, the dynamic is that the us is the Marines. It's no longer about race.
You couldn't have it in there; it wouldn't have worked. And you can't have people with loaded guns. In Vietnam, they tell stories about how if some white boys got out of order, it wouldn't make it. You wouldn't make it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you couldn't even carry that same type of attitude that you know what I'm saying? Like, all that was out the door. Like, you had to respect everybody. We on equal footing now. We depend on each other.